Thank you for your pledge on Patreon. Big TRK DVR 301.
Hey, yo, Flip.
Yo.
I'm going to put you on to some fire, man. They got this new beard wash company. They got the lotion and the everything.
What's their name?
They got a recovery room.
What's the name?
Maestro's Classic.
G-Money's up front.
I'll put you on.
I've been with you on the Maestro's,
sure?
man. You forgot where I brought you? You forgot where I brought you up there?
Oh, man.
You forgot about Ghost?
All right. What's his name?
Ghost, you know again?
He cool, man. Ghost is cool, man.
Yo, make sure you get your Maestro's Classic beard care products today at Target, CVS, or go on maestrosclassic.com and use the promo code QueensFlip to get 10% off.
10%, that's it? I thought it was free if you put your...
Are you crazy?
All right, I got it.
Make sure you go there today. Log on maestroswithas.com. I'm from Queens. G-Money!
Yo.
Excited about this next guest. That
Wow. I mean, this is... It's going to be...
Is there anything that you would like to say
before
we get started?
It's going to be... She cool, man. She cool, man.
Yeah.
Yo, she just blessed our show, bro.
She did.
Before the show even started, she said a prayer for our show.
Yeah,
And she said, may we get the most views on this episode.
Facts.
I think she might have to, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm excited about the episode. You know, I do have a sponsor today. Shout out to my sponsor. They're actually they based out of South Central, LA. Coincidentally, I didn't plan it this way. It just happened. It just happened that way. So shout out to them, man. You know, they placed me with this nice shirt and this hat. The good, it stands for God uses us differently, or it stands for grind until you die. And you know that's their brand. Shout out to the West Coast one time. Shout out to LA, South Central. You know what I'm saying? They sent it over. Coincident, you know what I'm saying? LA's in the building, man.
Sign for them.
Oh yeah, my fault. I was trying to be humble today. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to South Central one time in the building. You know what I mean? How you feeling? You good?
I feel good. I don't have a sponsor today.
That's fine.
But today was a good day. You know, this week was a good week. You know, you never judge a book by its cover.
Right.
You know what I mean? Our next guest, you know, when I learned something, tell you why. Ego is a thing. And I realized that you got to tuck your ego, because when our next guest, and you know we're gonna surprise the people, was texting, I'm like, man, what's going on, man? What's wrong, man? Can we get the interview together? What's going on? You know, Baskey kept hitting us up like, yo, and I'm running around, and that's because of experience. And then when you meet them, it's like you want to do 10,000 more things for them just. The love and the energy. You understand what I'm saying? Because there's so much people that we deal with in life, you know, we tend to put this, let's say, wall up and look at everybody like, man, I don't know, man, what's going on? But I met these wonderful people. I enjoyed my 2 days. Well, it's the second day. The last day, it was half a day yesterday. They great, G, man. So don't hate on me.
I see it.
Turn on this light for me, please, over there. There's a switch. The little switch to the side. There we go. No, yeah, there we go. Yeah.
No, I see it already. And I met them for 15, 20 minutes. I already feel the same vibe you talking about. So.
And she is so confident. She know what she want and she know how to get it. Walked outside with an entrance music. Huh? You see what she got on? You know what? We can't get to them yet, but I asked him what he call that, man. You know what I'm saying? But you good though?
Everything's good. Everything's wonderful.
I'm gonna get straight into the episode, man.
Let's do it. Why not?
G-Money.
Yo.
Episode 146.
Nigga, we made it.
Woo. We got a special guest.
Close the laptop already?
I ain't closed it yet. We got a special guest. Queenpin. That's what they call her. LA in the building.
Facts.
I want to say this before I introduce the name. This woman is awesome. I'm going to say that. She introduced me to somebody yesterday. You know what I mean? She just blessed me and her husband who's here, man. They're just awesome people. And I appreciate that. For real, what? Can I share this moment?
Sure, yes. Enjoy it.
Cause I don't do this.
I know. I'm a little surprised. That's why I'm just Go ahead. I'm listening.
She's cool, man. She's cool. Oh, no. Let me take it. No, for real. And you know what? I want everybody to understand that there's a first thing. There's a first time for everything. You know what I mean? And I just want to salute these people. You know what I mean? And round of applause for Miss Jemeker Hairston. Welcome. Now, is the Hairston, is it hyphenated? Is it Hairston?
Just Hairston.
Oh. Can you introduce the OG, please?
I have my husband, Champ, who is my champion, my biggest encourager, and my biggest supporter. And this is the first time that I was able to get him to do a side-by-side interview with me, so I'm very excited.
Oh.
This is big for me.
Wow.
So thank you, honey.
You're welcome,
I appreciate
Queen.
you.
You're welcome.
Oh, yeah, come on, man. Yo, don't start this lovey-dovey. I told y'all yesterday, man. Don't start this lovey-dovey stuff, man. Yo, G, chill, G.
I'm his queen, but he my king.
G, don't give it to him, G.
That's
part.
what's up.
I think I might tear up this episode, man. I don't know. It's a lot of love in the building, man.
Welcome, Champ. What's up, man?
Hey, thanks for having us, brother.
Yes,
Yeah, it's a
man.
blessing
Thank
to
you
be
guys
here,
and thank you for sitting on the couch, man.
Appreciate
Hey,
it.
man.
You know, for
Hey.
real.
He
This
got
is
2 for 1.
Yeah.
He got me, so he got you too.
Hey, Flip's a real
I
one. And when the
appreciate
real
that.
ones called you, you got to show up.
Yeah, I appreciate him. He showed us nothing but love here in New York.
There it is.
Thank you.
Nothing but love.
No doubt.
You guys moving around. You came out here, y'all moving around too, moving and shaking.
Yes.
Good morning, America.
Yes.
You guys are moving and shaking.
Yes.
They were moving. They didn't need nothing from them.
Word.
Yeah, they moving and shaking outside, man.
No.
It
You
been a
can't let
good
grass
day.
grow up under your feet, man.
He's a good one, G. I told you. He's good.
I'm gonna try to hold back.
He's good,
He
G.
had like one more time, and then you got
His words is crazy, bro.
Slow
I was
down.
listening to this guy. I had to tell him stop talking yesterday. Like, shit, wait till the interview. Yes. But welcome. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for having us.
Do me a favor. Can you just slide that over? Yeah, slide it over for me. No, not forward. Like, push it this way. Push it.
Like the whole thing?
Yes. No, you're pulling it. Push it. No. There we go. Push. Pull.
Push, pull, push.
After the show.
Thank you. Shout out to Mighty 2-time in the building. Yeah, G, you all right, G? You embarrassed for her, G? Don't do that, G.
she good.
She cool. But welcome to the show, and we're gonna have a good show.
Thank you.
Yes, we are.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I feel good.
We'll
G.
have a great show.
I'm trying to think where do we begin, man. You know, like the stories are crazy. You know, I want to know where they met at first. I want to know her story from when she started. I want to know his story because I know he got a crazy story.
I'm
You know.
yeah, he does have a crazy story. He started telling me yesterday, but I'm following your lead on this one, man. I got my notes.
Let the spirit flow.
Okay, so let's take this episode slow. Let's go back to how we originally do it. You know, let's get the people the history. You know, for those who maybe sleep under a rock or don't know who you are, can you tell people who you are real quick in the camera?
My name is Jemeker Hairston. I'm the author of Queenpin. I was featured on Netflix Drug Lords, which is still most popular. BET Plus just aired last week. Was the first woman on American Gangster, most popular. So I used to be a big drug dealer. Did 12 years in prison. Came home and met the love of my life, who I've known for 37 years. That became my husband. I got my champion on the side of me.
Amen.
The champ is here, huh?
All right, so that's pretty much sums up the whole story. But now let's take it back now to your childhood. Let's go back to the beginning stages before the Netflix, before the BET, before the time, the 12. Let's go all the way back now to the beginning. You as a child.
Can I say something real quick? Yeah. Because I'm happy you said that because I watched the Netflix and I watched it today again, Drug Lord, and she never talked about her dad in that. Then I saw the BT one today, and she mentioned him briefly, and that was one of the things. If you look at the questions, that's one of the things I wrote. The top thing, I'm gonna pin it. I got it here, but that was one of the things. So that's a good question. Good start, G.
Thank you, man.
But yeah. This is about your childhood. Sorry.
We're on one accord here.
Yeah. Tell us where you grew up originally, born and
So
raised.
I was born and raised in Los Angeles, California, and my mother was a probation officer. My father was a construction worker and a minister. And so very early and on, my parents got a divorce when I was young. And I don't say this much, but my dad left my mother for a white lady. And that's different back in those days, you know. And so my mother was kind of, you know, scorned from that, you know. But I felt like my parents, they, back then, they had a good relationship, even though after they divorced, they kind of got along for the sake of the kids. And so I would see my father on the weekend, and I was like daddy's little girl, real close to my father. And my mother knew that. So I felt like my mother did the best that she could to keep the household together. But as a probation officer, I thought my mother made a lot of money because, you know, she took us to Magic Mountain, Disneyland, SeaWorld. You know, she did all the things. And by her being a probation officer, she worked for California Youth Authority. So she would bring the other kids that, you know, she was a probation officer too. So I never knew that it was as bad as it was until the day we got evicted. And I was in the third grade, and we got evicted and came home, and all our stuff was on the line.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, real quick, when you said your father left your mom for a white woman, when you went to see him, did you see the lady? Did you see her?
Of course. When I used to visit my dad, I used to, because he ended up marrying the lady. So, you know, she was my stepmother.
Did he end up divulging of how he met her and why? Did you ever have that conversation with him of what happened or what caused him to leave your mom or stuff like that? Did you ever have that conversation?
No, I never had a conversation with my dad. Why did he leave? You know, my mother, for whether she was white, black, or whatever. You know, he left my mother, and I always tried to bring my mother and father back together. Even though he married another woman, I just always thought, I mean, as a kid, you don't know. I just, you know, wanted my parents to be together, you know. So, no, I didn't.
But what was she a nice lady to you? Was she try her best to be nice? You know?
Yeah, I think my stepmother was nice to me. I just wasn't nice to her because I didn't want a stepmother. You know, I didn't want nobody that I wanted my dad back with my mother. And as a kid, you don't know, you know, what adults do at that time. So, you know, I always would try to do anything to mess up their marriage to get him back home with my mom, but it didn't happen.
What's the worst thing you did try to mess them up?
I mean, like, I would just say things like we would have dinner at my father's house. She would tell me that I would have to eat all my vegetables. And I'm like, I'm not going to eat all my vegetables. You ain't my mama. You don't tell me what to do. And my dad be like, he wouldn't say nothing because I was like daddy's little girl. But I would just say things like, you know, Dad, my mom don't make me eat my vegetables. How is she going to tell me to eat my vegetables, you know?
I see.
And, you know, stuff like that. But in the end, in the long run, I became, you know, friends with my stepmom.
Nice.
But at first, I didn't like her because I wanted my dad really all to myself, and I wanted him back with my mother.
Now, did you go by yourself over there, or did your other siblings go with you?
My other brothers went with me to visit my dad. So he was always a part of our life, even though that they was divorced.
Because it's 4 of you guys, yes?
Yes, it is.
3 brothers and
Yes.
you by yourself. Yeah.
Yes.
So you guys all went and.
Well, at that time, it wasn't, my baby brother wasn't born. So it was just like 3 of us that would go to see my dad.
And I want to ask you a question. Did you see, was your mom really affected by your dad leaving? Did it affect it? Could you see, was it visible? Could you see that she was affected by that, or she was just affected by, you know, how you guys may have been living at the time, you said?
As a child, I can't say whether she was affected or not, but I felt like my mother just tried to be the best mother that she can be to us. And I feel like growing up in that era that our parents didn't show us the things that we show our kids today. It's a totally different generation. That's what I think. So I think that our parents were taught to suppress and hide things that we would bring open to our kids today. So my mother didn't discuss what was going on between them because it was just something she wasn't taught to do by her mother.
So, and you said that one day you came home and the marshal, you know, when I watch it said the marshal, you know, you had the notice on the door and you couldn't get in the house.
Yeah. One day I came home from school. I was in the 3rd grade, and it was a eviction notice on the door. As a child, I didn't know what it was, but when I looked and seen all my clothes and things on the front lawn and all our furniture and everything on the front lawn, I know that this wasn't good, you know. And then you got all the neighbors looking and whispering, you know. It's like, what's going on, you know? So we got put out. I didn't know what it was. So I knew that in my mind that as a little girl, I'm like, this ain't cool. And I don't never want this to happen to me.
So after that, what happens next? You guys move out. I mean, evicted, and you go away from there.
So after we were evicted, we ended up staying at a motel. And so I finished going to school. And once school was out and it was summer, then I went to Mississippi to live with my grandparents, my mother's parents.
And I heard you was giving grandma some trouble.
Oh, yeah. Living with my grandparents, they were very strict. And you couldn't even leave outside the yard without getting permission. So, and I didn't, you know, like being raised in California, you're like, you know, my mother was like cool, laid back,
Right.
you know. My grandmother was like, you have to say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. You don't say yes, yeah, no. You don't talk like that, you know. And when you, in Mississippi, when you're walking down the street, if people sitting on the porch, you have to say, hello, good evening. You don't just pass by people on the street and don't say anything. Not in Mississippi. Because by the time I got home, if I did that, my grandmother would say, turn around and go back to that house and speak to them people. My grandmother was very, very strict.
And that was your mom's mom.
That was my mother's mother.
What's your ethnic background?
I'm African American. I'm black.
Gotcha.
All black.
All black.
Mississippi.
My mama black, my daddy black.
Gotcha.
So real quick, and your grandfather was there as well. Was he strict as well?
My grandfather was very laid back. Actually, Champ reminded me a lot like my grandfather, but he didn't talk a lot. He just worked. But my grandfather, to me, I used to, as I got older, I thought he was probably white because he was so light, but he wasn't. Because I would always ask my mother, "Is your daddy black?" Because he was so light. She said, "Yeah, my daddy black." So he was really a good person. And what I could say about my grandfather, I know we're getting ahead of the interview, but he didn't talk much. So I remember when I got arrested, and I was scared to call my grandparents because I didn't want to embarrass my family. And so my mother told me that my grandmother was sick. And I couldn't go because I was on the run. And I wanted to go see my grandmother, but I couldn't because my grandmother raised me. And so I can remember calling from jail because we were talking about my grandfather. My grandfather, I said, "Granddaddy, how you doing?" He said, "I'm fine." Because my granddaddy started talking more after my grandmother passed away. And I'm like, that's different. Because you would call the house when my grandfather never even answered the phone. So for me to call from jail and he answered the phone, I'm like, "Granddaddy, how you doing?" And he said, "I'm going to send you some money." I said, "Granddaddy, you know where I'm at?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "If people mind their business and stop talking so much, they wouldn't know your business." So for him to talk so much, that was a good memory for me when I was incarcerated. And it was the beginning stages of me being in jail. And then my grandfather did pass away while I was in jail. But that stuck with me when he said that other family members were calling him and telling him I was incarcerated. And he was like, they need to mind their business. And that made me feel so good when my granddaddy said that.
So, but you were given trouble, because not really given trouble, but you wanted to, like, first of all, what age did you go to Mississippi?
I went to Mississippi. I was in the summer of the third grade, so I'll be going to the fourth grade. Mm-hmm. And so we were just, supposed to go down there to see, how we like it. Because in my mind, I'm like, if my mother don't have a place to stay, I'm like asking my mother, well, where do your mother stay? Because I had never met my grandparents at that time. Because my mother left Mississippi at 18, and so she moved to California with my father. So I had never met my grandparents until I went to Mississippi. So the first time going to Mississippi, me and my little brother, Fernando at the time, we went back. My mother put us on a plane, and then they met us at the airport in Mississippi. And that's the first time we met my grandmother. And then when I got to the house, my mother's sisters and brothers and my grandfather.
So she stayed in L.A. She remained while you guys were up there.
Mm-hmm. But once we were... we ended up staying in Mississippi because I said, Mom, I like it out here. Could we stay? And my mother was like, oh, okay, if that's what you want to do. So at the time, my mother was in the Air Force Reserve, so she would travel all the time. So she would come to Mississippi, through the Air Force and stuff. So I would see her like that. And so then when I started feeling myself, if I couldn't have my way, because my grandmother didn't let me have my way. My grandmother say, your mama and them spoiled you, but I'll whoop your butt. So I'll be like, oh God, I hate my grandmother. Just kill her, kill her, kill her. I hate her. She's so mean. Because my mother and father have never, ever whooped me. But my grandmother, she be like, I will tear your butt up. Go pick your own switch. If you ain't in the house before it's dark, you would get a whooping. I'm like, as a kid, I didn't know what whooping was. My grandmother be like, you talk back to her, she get that walking through the house, muddy up, she ain't play. I was scared to death of my grandmother. I used to literally hide in the closet and say, God, kill her, kill her, kill her, kill her, kill her. Because I didn't know. So when I became a Christian, I had to repent and say, God, forgive me for saying that. But to this day, I can say that because of what my grandmother instilled in me, and because of her strictness, and because her discipline, and because of her structure and her family structure, it helped me be the woman and the godly woman that I am today. Because it was my grandmother that instilled, you going to church, you going to vacation Bible study, you going to Sunday school. If nobody went to church in that town, the Richardsons was there every time the door opened. So I appreciate what my grandmother did then. I didn't understand it as a kid then, but I understand it now as an adult.
What about your father's parents?
My father's parents were in West Virginia. So when we would go back and forth later on, I did meet I never met my father's father, but because he was dead. He died when my father was young. But I was close to my father's mother.
Was she as strict as Medea?
Absolutely not. My father's mother wasn't strict at all.
Nice lady.
Nice lady. But my grandmother was nice. She just was strict.
So so is the saying true? Like if you talk while she's not talking to you, you know how they give you that look and all that, and they backhand you. Is that true? Those type of stuff is true.
What our kids do today? You don't. If grown folks are talking, first of all, you're not in the room in Mississippi, and you don't interrupt them when they're talking. And and if you do, it's, excuse me, Maria. And I can remember this time, even though Maria was my grandmother, because we stayed with her so long, because my mother's sister, and my grandmother all had kids in the same year on 3 different occasions. So I was raised with my uncles and auntie, which is in my same age bracket. So I remember one time I said, Grandma, she said, well, what did you call me? Oh, I'm sorry, Maria. Yeah, Because I got so close to my grandmother that my grandmother looked at me as being one of her kids instead of her granddaughter.
That's what it's because Medea is a form of endearment, right, for mother or mom. Yeah, that's my first time. Yeah, looking it up.
So I couldn't talk back to her, or I couldn't, One time I asked her, could I go and see one of my friends, and she was like, and it was like a Sunday or something, and she said, no, you can't go. And I'm like, I went to that closet, and I said, I'm running away. I'm getting out of here. But I was scared to run away because I'm like, she gonna kill me.
Yeah, she catch you, she gonna
So anyway, I did, I ran away. And when they found me and brought me back to Money, I said, I'm not staying here.
Oh man.
You got in trouble?
Oh yeah. But I ended up going to stay with my auntie until my mother sent for me.
Is that the situation where you talk about she pulled her shotgun out?
Yes.
You remember seeing the shotgun?
Oh yeah.
Bring us. So you ran away. How many days were you going for?
For about a week.
Where did you go?
Well, I thought that I remember when I was like in the 6th grade, I was in Mississippi because I was out there from the 4th grade, the 5th, the 6th grade. And so it was this guy that used to always come see my auntie. And so, as a little girl, I had like a little girl's crush on, one of the guys in town. He was like the man in town. And so then I said, when I grow up, you're going to be my boyfriend. And so when I ran away, it was like the 9th grade, something like that. So I ran to my best friend's house, Tanya, and I said, Tanya, Maria's so mean. And I used to always confide to Tanya, my best friend. I said, Maria's so strict, she's so mean. And her parents were, not as strict as my parents. Like Tanya could go out to the club, she can go to the, to the dances and stuff. Maria, like, she'll let you go to the dances, but the dances start at 8 o'clock. They probably over with at 12. Maria say, we got to be back by 8.
Oh, nah.
I'm like, Maria, well, that's what time the dance. So you leaving the house at 6 o'clock, you know, to go to the dance. But, so.
Wow. Well, I think that's what we're missing now, though, nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Like in 2019, 2020, New Year, I think that's definitely, well, the past like decade, I feel like we're missing that Medea, that big mama, that make sure these kids are a little more straightened out, you know what I mean? But we're going to pause for a second right here because we got 2 for 1 special. We're going to go to my man Champ. How you feeling, Champ?
Man, blessed and highly favored.
Chill out, man.
So what's your story, man? Like, where'd you grow up, and what's the Champ story?
Like on the east side of LA, and it was. I have a similar story. Like my grandmother and mother raised me. My father, same situation. And grandmothers are a blessing, definitely.
Oh, facts.
But now I think the grandmothers are so young. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like babies having babies now, so it's like they don't really have that wisdom, and the knowledge that our grandmothers had. Our grandmothers was deep. They was like the father and the mother. You know what I'm saying? They was
can
cold.
I say something? When he said the same situation, that just hit me deep because I forgot Champ father left his mother for a white lady that he's still married to today.
Wow.
Well, no, actually, that's a different one because Pops, he done been
He had
3.
yeah.
He been married like 3 times. But once, like, how you say when you go black, you don't go back. Well, he flipped that thing around. He went white. You stayed white. You know what I mean?
That just hit me when you said that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, Champ, wait, hold on. So you remember your father leaving as well as a kid, or he left when you were?
Yeah, I was young, man. I think I was like, I want to say like maybe the second grade or something like that. First grade. Might have been the first grade, you know what I mean? But I think what happened with him, I don't think he really left. I think my mother kind of like smashed because I think she came home and caught him. You know what I'm saying, in the bed with a white woman, and that was that. I don't think he really planned to leave. You know what I'm saying? I think she expedited that when she caught him, you know what I'm saying, like that, and that was that, you know.
Mm.
Wow.
And do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I had 2 brothers and 2 sisters. Yeah.
So it's 5 of you in all.
Yeah.
And like, so as a kid, you know, tell us what it was like in your household, like how your mother was, because once your father left, like how was it in the household? You see your mother and your grandmother, so they both.
Yeah. My grandmother like filled the gap, and my grandmother was, you know, just like her grandmother. You know, they no joke. Like Medea, it's like, you know, that was really like Mother Dear. You know what I'm saying? That's what it was. But then it just got flipped into the slang to Medea. You know what I mean? And my grandmother, we called her Granny, and she was that. She was all that. You know what I mean? I remember one story, like when I got older, because I kind of went to the left too. So I remember the sheriffs, like in my neighborhood, they didn't play around at all. They was gangsters. They had their own little gang. You know, they used to call them, the Vikings. They had tattoos and everything, you know what I mean? And they had no love for us. So one day I came to my mother's house and my grandmother's house because they stayed together, and I had pulled up in the driveway. Right when I pulled up, the sheriffs pulled up, kicked the doors open, shotguns out, all that. Let me see some hands. Here we go. And I was dirty, you know what I mean? So I'm like, My grandmother came out the door, leave him alone. I'm looking like, oh, Granny, go on back in. You know what I'm saying? These jokers ain't playing here. You know what I'm saying? Go on back in. But she didn't. She smashed to the point they left on me. I had never seen that before. I never seen the sheriffs just put it in reverse and just get somewhere. You know, so that took me, I had a whole different level of respect for her. You know what I'm saying? She gave me my squabble game. You know what I'm saying? From way back when. She taught me how to chuckle. You know what I mean? So she was the truth, man.
How she told you that?
Well, one day I was outside playing. I think I was a youngin' when Pops had first left, and something happened with the neighbors or somebody on the street. Something happened. Oh, she was in. You know how they listen. You know what I'm saying? Like they used to be in the house with the windows open. So when you're outside playing or whatever, they hearing everything. So I don't know, dude that got slick or something. It was a cat from they was from somewhere, man. They wasn't from here, you know what I'm saying? They had just moved to the neighborhood. I think they was from Canada or something, you know, and they was real, like, disrespectful, you know what I mean? So the dude was talking fly, the kid. My grandmother heard it. She called me aside. She said, you know, this, that, the other, whoop, whoop, whoop. And she kind of gave me the game on respect, disrespect, and all that, and whoop, 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 and how to, like, lightweight check, you know? So she gave me that, and I was like, okay, and you know, and then she said, yeah, and if this don't, woo, 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 and she gave me a couple moves. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So I went back outside strapped. You know what I'm saying? I was, vested. You know, I had my chest up, like, woo, woo. So, dude, like, he went to the left again. You know, so I touched him up. You know what I'm saying? And then I felt some kind of way after that, but she didn't give me the rest of it. Like, when they go down, like, what to do. You know what I'm saying? So So then when I came back in later, because she's in the window, she watched the whole thing. And then when I came back in, you know, she gave me the rest of it. You know what I'm saying? As far as that, she explained that L.A. stomp to me, too. How you put them feet on them when they go down, you know?
The way you talk to LA
Yeah. My grandmother's the truth, man.
Yo, that's crazy.
And so did you guys all live together? Your mama?
Yeah, my mother and my grandmother, you know what I'm saying? And my father, like, at first it was just, like my sister and my brother, it was 3 of us, you know, from my mother. Yeah. So we all stayed together.
Did you go visit your father at certain weekends like she did too, or how'd you guys kind of?
Yeah. Sometimes we would fool with them on the weekends, you know, but it wasn't like, you know, it was whenever, you know.
It did it now at that age, right? Did it really, because your grandmother filled that gap? Did it really matter if you saw him at that age? Like, was it, because some kids, they want to see their daddy, like, to you, how was it? Did you become disconnected? Was there a gap from when you haven't seen him in a long time, that put you into that mental space, if you was in that mental space?
I mean, we wanted to see him, you know what I'm saying? We was always happy to see him, you know what I'm saying? But I know my brother and my sister, they wasn't as happy as I was to see him. You know what I'm saying? So, like, sometime when we got over there, they be ready to go. Like, I'm ready to go home now. You know what I'm saying? Enough of this.
They got that face, right?
Yeah.
You just got here, man.
Yeah, you know what I mean? They ready to go. You know what I mean? They get a stomach ache, whatever. My stomach hurt. I want to go home. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So tell us. So now you growing up. Were you outside? Were you active at a young age? Teenager? What were you doing?
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, the neighborhood is just different because, like, the house was right. I mean, you know what I'm saying? We didn't have a gang of money either, but we didn't go to bed hungry. You know what I'm saying? But like when you go outside and you see the cats that's hustling or whatever, and they got these knots, and you know what I mean, they pulling over the donut truck, and hey, what y'all want? Get whatever you want. You know what I mean? It's like as a kid, that was attractive. You like, I want that. I love my grandmother, I love my mother, but I didn't see them with them knots and all that kind of stuff like that. You know what I mean? So that's what attracted me. I'm like, ooh, I want that. I want to pull the truck over and say, get what you want. You know what I mean? That's what kind of attracted me to just going to the dark side.
At what age you started to go on the dark side?
Oh man, I think I was like in the 5th grade.
5th grade.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's your first introduction to it? Like how'd you initially get into the game? You know what I mean?
Well, like our elementary school was like, that's where the neighborhood gang, that was like headquarters. You know what I'm saying? So we had a wall there where, with the wall all hit up and whatever, everybody from the neighborhood and whatever. So, as a youngin', I mean, the older cats, they recognize, the cats that's with the business. You know what I'm saying? So if they see something in you, they kind of approach you, and then you gullible, you young, you don't know. Right. So they had you on different capers. You know what I'm saying? Do this, do that. You know what I mean? And then when you do it,
babies.
Yeah, then when you do it, and they patting you on the back and giving you some bread too. Oh yeah, you down. Woo, 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 woo. So it like gas you up. You feel like you did something like great. You know what I mean? Like, and then it just pulls you in deeper and deeper. You know what I mean? And then they tell you, oh, they can't do nothing to you because you're young. You know what I'm saying? It's like, even if you do get twisted, it's like, they ain't gonna do nothing. So yeah, it's cold how they do you. As a young one.
Yeah. Hold on, Champ, because you started at a young age, man. You talking about in the 5th grade. How old were you in the 5th grade?
Man, I don't even know, bro.
First grade is 6, so
I just remember the
about 9
school.
or 10.
9, 10.
You know what I'm saying? That's how I tell what I was doing, because I try to think, okay, where was I at school? What was I? You know what I'm saying? Where was I at? And then that's how I'm able to tie in. The time is just from where you was living, because how sometimes your parents, they move around. You know what I'm saying? It depends on when that bread ain't doing what it's doing, you got to go to plan B.
That's what's important. So what now? You also told me earlier that you started smoking at a young age as well.
Oh yeah, well that came from Pops, because Pops still smoking. You know what I mean? He ain't never stopped. You know what I'm saying? He's serious about it. So how that happened was, when I used to go to Pop's house, like sometimes, he would dip out and I'd be at his house. You know what I'm saying? And I remember he kept his little weed box under the bed. And I used to watch him how he take the top off, and because back then, we had seeds and all that in it. So you lift it to the side, drop the seeds out and twist it up. That was zigzags. There wasn't no blunts or none of that then. So I pulled the zigzags out and just did what I saw him do. Mine wasn't as tight as his, but you know what I mean?
But it was right.
It stayed in there.
It was right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
So that's where it all started, And I think I was about 12. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to come back to you in a minute, Champ. You know what I'm saying? So, Miss Queenpin, let's get back to, you were in Mississippi, grandparents. You said about 9th grade now. So what happens next now? You ran away, you came back. After that, what happened?
Shotgun. She pulled the
Shotgun.
shotgun out.
She pulled that shotgun out, and I took off running. I went to my auntie house, and I stayed there until I got out of school, and my mother sent for me. And then I came back to California.
When you say got out of school, you graduated?
No, just, you know how school is out, and then, because I went from the 9th grade, and then I came back that summer of the 9th, so I'm going to the 10th. So, but I knew I wasn't going back to Mississippi after disrespecting my grandmother. I knew I wasn't going back because I totally disrespected. I'm the only one that disrespected her ever like that. You know, that's like in Mississippi, black family, that's like a disgrace to the family to run away. You don't do that. This in the South, and you call yourself running away? But because I was originally from California, and what they did in Mississippi, we didn't do that at my mama's house. My mother didn't make me go to church. My grandmother's like, you going to Sunday school, you going to vacation Bible school. And at a very early age, you know, because we took home economics in school, my grandmother I was baking cakes. And when she knew I knew how to bake cakes, I had to learn how to cook and everything. So I had like a day of the week where, you know, I'm in the kitchen with my grandmother, and I had to cook and cut chicken up and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, ooh.
Hey, but not to cut you off, her grandmother gave her hands game too. Because like her and one of her cousins, which was a boy that was older than her, they was going back and forth. You know how kids do. You know, they going back and forth. So she took them out back.
Yeah.
And said, y'all handle your business.
Yeah.
You know, I'm tired of hearing all of this.
Yeah.
And let them just knuckle up. You know what I'm saying? And she handled him.
Yeah.
And she was younger than him and everything, and a girl.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's when she realized she had hands.
Yeah, my cousin, he used to always, and we were the same age. He would always think he can whoop me. And I don't know, you know, I guess because I had the boys, you know, my brothers, you know, were all boys. I had a little squabble, you know, to be, you know, so little. And so my cousin, I would put him in a headlock and hold him. And I say, he always would think he win. And I'm like, I got you in the headlock. You can't move. Just go in and say, I won. And I wouldn't let him go until, you know, he would say it. But I know that anytime in Mississippi, if somebody messed with one of us in the family, we all jumped on you. And that was something that my grandma said, you don't let nobody mess with your family. So that was something my grandmother taught us. Even my grandmother's like, I remember one time my uncle came in the house late, and she like hit him in the back of the head with a skillet. I'm like,
For
real?
yes. So that was, you know, like you didn't call no police then. You know, like the kids now, you get a whooping or spanking, you know, or you talk back to them, you know, or tell the kids do this, do that. They want to call the police on you, and the police will arrest you. But back then,
My mama was the same way. Because the mama, like, I remember one day, her mother got into it with some neighbors. So the mother came back to the house, got Jemeker and her brothers. She said, I'm going to whip on the mama.
You get the daughter.
You get the daughter. And told the brother
to get the son.
To get the son.
And I'm like, Mama, because I had just got back from Mississippi. I'm back in California. So my mother's getting into it with the neighbors. And my brother then already beat up the daddy. Because my brother could squabble really good. He was like a black belt. And that came from, back in the days, a gang member stole his jacket. And when they stole his jacket and he came home without it, my mother said, where's your jacket? And my brother told him. And she made him go get that jacket and fight that kid. Same thing. And my brother was scared. He was like, you know, because this guy is a gang member. My brother wasn't a gang member. Right. So he got all this backup. My mother whooped him in front of everybody he fought that guy.
And did he win?
Of course he won. He became the king of the neighborhood then. because everybody was scared of my brother at that time. But before, he wasn't no fighter. But my mother is like, no.
And so when y'all went to squabble with the people, did you put the beats on somebody? Like,
Oh yeah, I can remember my best friend brother got into it with my cousin, and even though that was my best friend, I couldn't let him, jump on my cousin, the cousin that I would have the fight with. And so it was like probably 6 or 7 of us, my cousins, that jumped on one person. And so, yeah, that's where it started, Mississippi.
So now you back in L.A. What's going on next? You back in L.A. Now you're going into the 10th grade. Mm-hmm. So now you go to the 10th grade. What's happening? When do things start to pick up for you? Is it in the 10th grade or like when you get...
So when I get back from Mississippi, and it's the summer, and so it's different for me because now I have this different upbringing from what I was, totally different. So I'm more like, well, this is different. So people would come out on the streets and they would hang out and gamble and, getting their hustle on. I didn't see none of that in Mississippi. It was a quiet hustle. Like if somebody sold weed or something, because that's what it was then. You knew who the weed man was in Mississippi, but you didn't. It wasn't out in the open. You come back to California, everything is like in the open. So I remember I would come to the balcony and look down, and I would see my brother gambling with guys in the I'm talking about like 20 guys like in the neighborhood. And so this one particular guy, he would come. His name was Daft, and he would just come and jump out of his car and just, have his money flipped in his hand. I was like, wow, he's like a cool cat. He got all this money. And I'm just watching. And this went on for a while. And then I would ask my brother about him. But I ended up messing with Daft. And Daft became, my boyfriend. And he was the man. He would take me shopping and, kick me down, buy me nice gifts and stuff like that. But everybody in the neighborhood knew that Daft was the man, and I was going for the top man with the money.
So hold on, that was a plan.
Well, I just know that I didn't want the ones that was losing. I wanted the winner.
So what was his background? Because when I see pictures of him, he I saw a picture of him online, and is he black as well?
Mm-hmm, Daft is black. I think his mother may have had Indian in him, but his birth certificate says African American black.
Okay. So now you with Daft and you what grade are you in when you get with him?
I'm getting ready to go to the 10th grade.
Okay.
So I'm like probably about
like 14 maybe?
I'm 15.
And that's when you start, and you were running track as well, yes?
I was running track. And
you said that your goal was to go into the Olympics.
Yes. I loved running. And so I wanted to be, my plan was to be in the 1984 Olympics. And so Daft used to always come to my school and bet on, the runners. And I didn't know he was betting on me, but later on, I found out he was betting on me.
And you think you still could run fast?
Well, I think I can run fast. I think I'm still good.
What do you think, Champ?
I don't think I'm. Yeah, I'm still very athletic.
She
I work
still
out.
holds the record at Hamilton High School.
Yeah.
Her record still stands.
Yeah.
Wow. Really?
You know what I'm saying? She's a record breaker.
Yeah.
She was breaking records out there, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Still?
we recently went and visit Hamilton, my school that I graduated from, and they was a little dusty, but they was
Trophies, yeah, ribbons
and stuff are still up
That's
there.
official.
Yeah, it's official.
So
she actually trained with the men. with the
Yes.
boys. Like she didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't. Her coach. They didn't even have her running
Yeah.
with the females. They had her running with the guys
Yeah.
because that's how fast she was. So they needed. You know what I mean?
And that started
push.
in Mississippi too, because in front of my grandmother's house, that was one of the games we played. running against the boys in front of the house, and I would always win. I've always been a runner, and I still work out, and
That's what's up.
yeah.
I used to run track too a little bit. You know what I'm saying? High school.
Me too,
Two
mentally.
years.
I
Yeah.
ran a mental track.
Yeah.
I did pin relays. You know what I'm saying? Went out there a little bit.
You were fast?
No. But I got a few trophies.
Oh.
Second place, third place, stuff like that.
So, now you with Daff, and at the time, he's the top guy in the neighborhood. And the neighborhood that you grew up in L.A. was what, again? When you say the top guy in the neighborhood, are you talking about because when we say neighborhood here, it's like north side, south side, or like the particular block.
Okay, well, I stayed on the west side in
West
LA.
side.
LA was like west side. And so Daff didn't actually stay in my neighborhood. He used to come from his neighborhood, which was another section on the west side. And everybody knew him because it's like in LA, you have certain spots that you would hit that it was gambling going there. Certain streets were hot. So Daff he was known for gambling and hustling because back then it used to be like 3-car modelly and what do they call it when you shoot the dice? Craps. So you can, no matter where you at, you could pull up and just start a crap game and people just start coming out. Like you on the block.
Right.
I have a question, Champ. What age did you meet Jemeker?
Man. Okay, where was I? Man, it had to be
Like 1983.
yeah, early
Yeah,
80s.
1983.
Early 80s. Yeah.
And you were how old then?
There you go, man.
We
There you go.
Champ ain't good with
So what
numbers
you
like
got?
that.
You see how you do? I told you,
Yeah.
man. I go by. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The grade and where I was.
He had to be
I
about
see what's
20,
going on here.
about 19 or
I just
20.
want to make sure. Okay, all right.
Yeah. He was about 19 or 20 because
Yeah, I
I'm a
was
year
younger.
older than him.
Got you.
But actually, I knew Daff first.
Yeah.
Because Daff was the man. So it's like everybody that was doing whatever they was doing, you knew that. So Jemeker was like, we just knew Jemeker as Daff's wife.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying? And that's all it was. That's why I'm saying, like, coming up, I didn't, it was nothing. Because, anytime, like, say, somebody's girl or whatever, then that's just what it is. And then back then, she was a cut up anyway. So it wasn't like, you wasn't looking at her like that. I don't think nobody was. Because she was something else, man. She wasn't who she is now. You know what I'm saying? She was something else.
Yeah, it was like me. Even though we knew each other, it was like, hey, how you doing? What's
That's
up?
Daff's
like that.
You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you a question because I always hear, stories about that from her. What do you remember him being as?
I mean, he was just a good dude, man. Okay, who do you know that goes and gambles, takes everybody's money, and then loan it back to him so they can keep gambling? That's Daff, homie. Daff he was a different animal, man. Different animal. Great dude. Everybody loved him.
So you one of those dudes that light up the room when he comes.
Yeah,
When he comes
just a good dude. You know what I'm saying? Just a hustler, but a good dude. Not grimy. Just a pure heart. But Jemeker was the grimy one back then. You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh, he in the corner. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying. I mean, hey, y'all said y'all
You want
wanted
the
it.
truth?
You said you wanted it, so I'm just trying.
Yeah. He
just
talking
trying-
about me in my face.
I'm just
Flip.
trying to give it to
He
you.
talking about me in my
Just
face.
trying to give it to you.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
She didn't mess around.
Come
It was
on out the
like,
closet,
it's
baby.
like, yeah.
You asked for this interview. Now he giving it to you, raw,
He
baby.
giving it to me raw.
Yeah.
She was grimy.
Oh man, she did not play, man.
But but why you with? Okay, but she's with Daff at a young age, like as far as like 15, and then when things started to pick up with you and him.
Well, I don't know if I should say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Back then, I was 15, but I felt I was a mature 15. So I was 15, but I acted like I was probably 20. I was more grown than what my age was, because my mother used to travel a lot because she was in the Air Force. So she would go out of town and leave me to take care of my little brother.
Baby
Baby
Medea.
brother.
Baby Medea. You know what I'm saying? So
So-
the same controlling spirit and the controlling ways of her grandmother she had.
That's
With a 10 on it. And that's how she carried it, like, in the streets at a young age. You see what I'm saying? So it was like, you know, it was crazy. Because it's like how, you know, how Daff would do this or do that, or even give somebody consignment with weed or whatever. She, No.
No
Did he give you
consignment.
the money? You know what I'm saying? She was something else, bro.
So so Daff was actually 5 years older than me. But back then, you didn't trip on the age. I didn't even see what the age difference was, even though, because he was out of high school.
Hold on, before we get to that, you know, how'd you guys get together? Because you didn't say that part.
So one day, I was walking home from school, but because I would always see him on the block.
Right.
So he knew who I was. I knew who he was. So one of my friends, he had took her to the Michael Jackson concert. And so she was telling us how, you know, he didn't try to hit on me. He was just, you know, he liked her, but he was more about his money. He didn't have no girlfriend. So he would just take her to the concert and spent all the money, bought her all the T-shirts, the books, and everything. And I kept on saying, wow, this guy he got money, you know? And so I'm walking home from school with another one of my friends. He got money.
Talk about it.
So he pulls up in his lowrider and he lays it in the middle of the street. And he said, you guys want to ride home? And he knows us from the neighborhood.
Right.
And so then we was like, yeah, we finna ride in his lowrider. And so he takes us, he take me and dropped my girlfriend off, and then he took me to the mall.
After that, it was on after that.
It was on after that. He didn't even ask me to be his girlfriend. I just said, you my boyfriend.
Now, is it because like that's
She
crazy?
ain't playing.
Is it because like in Mississippi things were, you know, it was tough? Do you think that you sort of inherit the toughness from like Medea and stuff like that, like the strictness, and become solid at a young age? Do you feel like being over there is what really molded you to be as tough as you are?
Oh, definitely. I think my toughness definitely came from my grandmother and my mother, because my mother got it from my grandmother.
Right.
So I got it from my mother and my grandmother, but my mother was just smooth with it. My grandmother was like, I ain't playing. Somebody hit you, you hit them back.
So now you and him together, you're making moves, and at the time, so he's selling weed at this time, and now he's selling weed. He starts to teach you what's going on or how it goes, or you just basically catch on by being around him a lot.
Well, I would see what was going on. And so I told Daff one day, I said, you know, teach me the game. So I would take, you know, bags of weed to school and sell it, you know, to people that I knew that smoked weed at school. And that's where it started with me. And I would give him the money because he actually was taking care of me, you know, and not only just that, you know, because my mother, you know, when she was home, my mother cooked dinner every single day, still to this day. She still cooked dinner every single day. Nobody's at home with her. She still cooked dinner.
Got to,
Yeah. And even, we would go by there and eat, her food every day, you know. So Daff would give my mother money too.
That was nice.
Yeah, he always gave my mother money, especially when he win. And I never forget one day Daff lost and he came home and he said, Mom, how much money you got? And so then whatever she had, she gave it to him. And he left that night and he came back home with a wad of money and he kicked her down.
And this goes on, and then he's moving and shaking. At that age, do you remember when he was into the weed, do you remember anybody not liking him or any haters? Like, how did he deal with anybody? Did he have any haters that he deal with? Did he have any issues at the time that you were aware of?
When me and Daff was together, I've never knew anybody to hate him or disrespect him or to not like him or to be jealous of him very early on. But I think that his overnight success, once he started selling cocaine and selling it to people in his circle, because Daff, he was the man from the weed. They were okay with that. But now you like then elevated your game. And he didn't just elevate himself. He took his brothers, because Daff was just like me. He had 4 brothers and 1 sister too. So everybody in his family was in the game. If they wasn't drug dealers, they were pimps. So everybody, only one that worked in his house was his mother and his sister. But all his brothers were either drug dealers or pimps. They sold weed too. And they had a gambling shack in the back of their house. So they was all gamblers too.
But that weed was slow money. You know what I'm saying? So Joker can handle that. They can handle that slow money, but they can't handle that fast. The haters, that was just too much. You know what I mean? And really, Daff wasn't even really trying to fool with the yayo at all. He was comfortable. But this one here, you know what I'm saying? Let's get rich.
Let's get rich.
She's the one introduced him to the white.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
And how did you? Because in the story they said it was a person that.
Well, Daff got arrested, and when he got arrested, the bail bondsman that bailed him out pulled up in a Rolls Royce, money green Rolls Royce, and so then I was like, and he's like an older man, so I'm like chopping it up with him and everything, and then he invited me to meet with him, but all along he would invite me to lunch. And I said, I want to work for you. But I'm thinking I'm going to work for him as a bail bondsman. No, he wants to teach me how to do that cocaine. I didn't even know what cocaine was. I'm still, in high school. And so, he rented a room and everything, and he showed me how to use a triple beam scale and everything and weigh everything out and put it in the papers, wrap the cocaine up and weigh it and everything in paper. And then I came home and I showed Daff what he taught me. And Daff was like, I'm Jemeker, that's some serious time. I'm like, I don't care. I want to be rich. Let's just see what it do. And so that night we sold all the cocaine that the guy gave me. It was a lot of money. Then we bought some more. And then probably in a couple of weeks, because one of Daff's brothers he got a job at McDonald's, Mark. And so Mark, when he was working at McDonald's, when you go through the drive-thru, you're not just getting McDonald's. Now you're buying cocaine. And then Mark did that for a little bit, and then he quit. And then we had crack houses next door to each other. Within months. It was so crazy because it was my first apartment and it was Daff's brother's first apartment, and we stayed next door to each other.
Yeah, and it was all powder first. This was before Joker was even rocking
before
it up.
crack. It was,
And you was just getting powder. You know what I mean? So it was like crazy.
So you convinced Daff to sell cocaine.
powder cocaine. Yes.
Yeah, powder. You convinced him.
And then once Daff seen that we was making money, then we brought his brother in that
Yeah,
stayed
and then
next
he
door
got-
to us.
Because-
And then he started making money.
Because he was
So,
selling
like-
at McDonald's drive-through as well, and then he's
Yeah. And then like I'm talking about like months, like let's just say 6 months. You know, Daff bought me a Mercedes, his brother got a new Corvette, and we're kind of like in the hood, you know, doing good.
Was there any more people on that was doing what y'all was doing besides you, Daff, and his brother?
Well, what I can remember for a long time, it was just, you know, Daff and us. Because Daff and his brother became, you know, teams, you know, after a while, because shortly, like probably after a year or so, I get pregnant. So the brother and Daff, like when Daff sell out, they come to the front house. When Mark sell out, they come to the back house. But everybody, for some reason, said Daff, they had good dope back then. You know, it was like uncut, you know, because people were snorting then.
But let me ask you a question. And I don't expect you to say anything too crazy, but let's slow down but speed it up. Let me close this a little bit.
Uh-oh, it's going down up in here.
Yeah.
All the way down.
Yeah. I ain't playing around. I heard you a tough one. So I'm trying to figure out. The bail bondsman give you something, you sell out. Does the bail bondsman remain your connect, or you find another connect?
The bail bondsman remains my connect for a while. But after, you know, we blew up, you know, and you out and around, you know, people seek you out.
Oh, so that's
So,
true.
you know,
I heard
so
that before. So they do seek you out.
Oh, definitely. You know, and then you, just like the bail bondsman didn't know who I was, but he would take me out to lunch, you know, to get, because I'm like, I would tell Daff, I said, this man got money. Let me go out with him and see what's going on.
Right.
You know, and come, here it is. So the same thing happened, you know, like with the Colombians, you know, they seek you out. Because it'd be word on the street.
You know what happened with that? The other connect was she went in a furniture store. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? And you know, they owned the furniture store. So when she went in the furniture store, back to the knots, and pulled them things out and started buying up everything, they like, you see what I'm saying? So they like, you know, they already know she's active, you know, and she's getting money, and she got a word. You see what I'm saying? They don't want the dope. They want somebody to move the dope. They got the dope. They need somebody to move it. So they recognized that, you know, she was getting paper, a lot of paper. You know what I'm saying? And they like approached her, you know, low key. And that ended up being the other plug. And then she already knew what she was paying the other cat. So now her wheels is turning. You see what I'm saying? So they come with one number. She comes with one underneath it. You see what I'm saying? And they go for it. And then that's how she ended up with a direct line to the Colombian.
And that throws the bail bondsman out of business, though.
No, he still was in business.
Oh,
Because I was his number one client. And I was the only woman that was his client. But he still had men that he did business with.
Got it.
You know, but he tried to, you know, probably suppress me, you know, because when I told him what they giving it to me for, you know, in my mind, I'm like, this joker, he making more money off of me. So, you know, if the Colombians giving me at this price, why you not giving them at this price?
And what was his reason? Because I know you're a boisterous lady.
Oh, I don't know if I can beat that, you know. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going with them. That's what's up.
And he didn't feel no way.
Well, come on.
So at this time, what year is this? Do you remember?
This is like 1983.
At this time, what are you
1983.
doing, Champ?
He doing the same thing.
Yeah, but like we was still fooling with the weed. You know what I'm saying? Because that was a rich man's high.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We on the east side. She on the west side. The west side it was money. The east side, yeah, not so much. We on the other side of the tracks. So, the money ain't, like that yet. But as time went on,
It's coming.
and it started, blowing up like that, then we ended up dabbling too. But what happened with us, I guess I'll tell you that. It's a different story because we was still like hustling as far as like stealing cars, all of that. It was nothing that we wasn't doing to get money. Because at that time, you felt like whatever you was doing to get money was right. Even though it was wrong, in your mind, if you was getting money, it was right. So we stole a car, and the car, me and my cousin, and the car had like 3 birds in it. We didn't even know what it was because it was like bricks, like slabs. I mean, we heard about cocaine, and it was powder, but we never really seen it, so we didn't know what it was. But when we stole the car, we always used to empty the cars out before we drop them off because we had a little hookup with the body shops. So they would give you a list of cars that they needed, the color, everything. So like when a car get cracked or something, they didn't even have to paint it. We'll go get the right color. You know what I'm saying?
That's like
they
in,
switch the parts, rub that
movie was
thing
that?
out. It's brand new.
Men's Society, they did like the same kind of drink.
Yeah.
You send
So
them
So when we got the car, we would go through the car before we dropped it off. And so we pulled the things out, and we didn't know what it was. We looked at it. What is it? Drywall? I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we took it to one of our uncles. So the uncle kept it, and he told us what it was. So we like, whatever. We still wasn't impressed. It's like, well, can you sell it? Somebody want it. And we forgot all about it. So he's calling, because this was before, like, we had pagers and all of that. So he's calling my mama's house. Hey, your uncle called me. You said to call him. Okay, whatever. So we end up going over there, and he says he sold them. And we said, okay, cool. What'd you get? He said 45. So in our mind, we're like, okay, 4500, okay. Shoot, me and my cousin took the car. We chop it to 4. I take 2,000, you take 2,000, and we give you 500. So he goes back in the room, comes back out, and dumps the money on the coffee table. That's when people used to have coffee tables. He dumps it on the coffee table. You know what I mean? And we see all that bread. He got 45,000 a piece.
I like that.
Exactly.
Oh man.
Exactly. So at that time,
sound.
now we done. He just blew our head back. We done now. It's like we got to get some more of that.
You
see
remember
what I'm
that
saying?
day, Champ? Vividly?
What? What? I had never seen that much money,
Life
bruh.
changing.
I never seen that. So you take a joker that ain't, you know where we came from, so you ain't never seen nothing like that. So he dumped it, so he ended up taking 15,000, and we took the rest, and then we didn't say we had money or nothing. We never said nothing to nobody. We still living at home. Kind of. You know what I'm saying? We had a little whatever, but, we was still playing it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that was life-changing. And that's when we really started getting into the cocaine. So we start talking to him, can you get some more, this and that, the other. So he ended up getting us some more, and we started getting down. That's how we first started getting down. And we had a jeweler, and the jeweler, we used to, was like the fence. Whenever we stole some jewelry or something, we would take it to him, and he'd buy it. So we pulling up at the jeweler now. Now we got bread. So now we buying jewelry. So the jeweler's like, what's going on? Well, he's the fence. We can talk to him. So we tell him, we doing this, that, the other. So he's like, oh, really? He give us a number. It's a pager. We didn't know nothing about pagers. So we do the little thing and do, and we trying to figure it out and whatever. So we end up paging it. It's a direct line to the Colombians. So we end up getting some work from them. We got 1, and then we did the 1, and then we got 2. And whatever we buy, they would double, and we just give it to them on the back. You know what I'm saying? They would give you consignment. Next thing you know, we buying 150 and getting 300. It just went that fast. It seems like it now, but it was probably a little time, but it was crazy.
These stories is crazy, bro.
So okay. Hold on, Champ, man. Come on. Let me put the thing
It's
up,
back
Champ.
up.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I gotta relax. Yeah. I ain't gonna put it down yet.
But I do want to say something. When you said what did Daff have any enemies, or what did people think about Daff? People also loved Daff because Daff was the fence. Because back then, when all the boosters would come to him with everything, and Daff would buy everything they had. You know, whether it was TVs,
VCRs back
VCRs,
then. Yeah.
clothes, you know, because, you know, people did what they had to do back then, and, you know, you didn't think it was wrong. Then, when I look back now, you know, I was like, wow, who would do those things? When I see the things that people do today that we were doing then before the cameras,
Crazy.
cold piece.
And then I remember when we first got our pages, and then we would see people, and then, you know, your uncles or mamas or people that was older, like, what you doing with a page? You a
Yeah.
doctor or something? You know, only people had pages was doctors.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it was crazy.
So, what age you got pregnant?
I was 19 when I got pregnant.
But in before that, so now so the guy introduced you. You guys are making moves. Why you started beating up females?
Oh, one thing that I don't play is with my man and my money.
That's two
So-
things. Sorry,
I'm sorry. Two things.
I got your back. I got
Okay.
you.
Two things I don't play about
I love this lady.
is my man and my money. So when Daff started blowing up bigger, women just would just come out of the woodwork, just wanted to get with him. Women. So if I just thought of any woman that just thinking about him, just trying to get with him, I'm knocking at your door. I'm gonna scrap with you.
Gee, come on, man.
Don't mess with my man. You know, and I just felt at that time, you know, we at a level where we're making money. I'm like, ain't no woman finna get none of my money. That's my money. We earn that together.
So
What happened in the club that night? It was a situation that you had a squabble. That's the word y'all used.
I had a few squabbles.
So you had a
yes.
squabble in the club with the young lady over
My
your
sister-in-law.
Your sister-in-law. Bring it back to that day.
sister-in-law.
Yeah, my sister-in-law was trying to.
Wait, hold on. Whose sister is that?
She was married to Daft's brother. And so, because I was so, Daft's family loved me, but at the same time, they hated me because they said that I was too controlling, and, you know, they say I would try to just.
Let me
I'm looking
let
at
me-
his
let
face.
me shed a little light.
Let's go, Chet. It's my
Nah.
man right here, boy. Woo.
Now, Jemeker, like I said, you know, my dear. So what Daff did, he took care of everybody.
Yeah.
So like he used to pay rent, the house note, whatever, at his mother's place,
Because of the gambling shack.
and he didn't live there. So Jemeker's like, well, what are you paying that for? You don't even live there. You see what I'm saying? So that's where all of that stuff started with the family, because she was regulating that bread. So it was nothing that was just
Yeah.
going
The
like how he
mother
was
didn't
free with it.
like-
She wasn't like that.
Yeah. The mother didn't like that.
She didn't, and so they didn't like that she was controlling. You know, where he was like free with it, she wasn't.
So I would fight Daft brothers.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Fist fights or just arguments?
Totally squabbling up, running up on you.
I like the squabble. That sounds good.
Yes.
Wow.
Because one of Daft brothers, even when I was pregnant, you know, I was still picking up money and stuff, and I would, you know, be like, you know, Daft may, you know, give you your stash, but you're gonna give me my money. So Daft would send me to get the money, and they'd be like, they don't have it or whatever, and I'm like pregnant, and I would like kind of like just go off on them. And so one of Daft brothers, after I had the babies, he after I had my son, he was like, you were a total bitch. But he said something else, then. I just don't talk like that no more. But he said, I'm so glad you had that baby, because they said I was so crazy with, collecting the money and stuff and pregnant, so they wouldn't mess with me. Pregnant because, I fought pregnant. I would fight pregnant. I actually had a fight while I was like 9 months pregnant.
Over parking space.
Yeah.
It's like my mom. She should be fighting with parking spots and all that.
Yeah.
And then
Shout
with
out
her,
Mom
she
Deuce.
didn't let stuff go. So like, and it didn't even have to be real stuff. Like if she heard
Yeah.
somebody was fooling or trying to fool with that or whatever, it didn't even have to be real. If I heard it, it's just like when she came out, she wasn't really no clubber. Like we stayed in the club. So when she came to the club, it was for a reason.
Yeah, I'm looking for somebody.
You see what I'm saying? So when you see her come in the club, you're like, come on, Jay.
Yeah.
Not tonight. Oh, no, I'm cool. Couple minutes later,
I'm
it's
squabbling.
going down.
Do.
She putting hands and feet on somebody because of something she heard or something that she thought or whatever. And then it didn't end then, because with her, it's like every time I see you, this what you gonna get.
Mm.
So yeah.
You're going to know who I am.
So the
Every time-
sister-in-law that night, you went to go see her that night at the club.
Yeah, she
That
was
already in your
friends
mind.
with Muhammad Ali. And so, because Tammy was like, she had a credit business. And she had a lot of, celebrity clients, and she was friends with celebrities. I didn't know celebrities back then. And so I thought that she was introducing Daft to somebody else because, like you can hear like little rumors in the family, like, oh, she this, she that, or whatever. You can just, like when I would pull up to the house, I can hear them whispering as I'm coming about me. But they had to put up with me because I had what they wanted. We was the connection. So I just went in the club and, squabbled with her.
But why did she say Red Fox daughter? Where did that come from? Like, it's like you just, that was one of my questions. Like, how do you know that she was trying to hook somebody up? Like, where did that whole rumor come from? Or she just was freestyling in that joint?
I don't even know.
We got to get her. We got to get her.
Yeah.
Tell me she was freestyling. Let her have it.
She probably heard. You see what I'm saying? And that's what I'm talking about. It didn't have to be no, gospel. She could hear of something like, or get wind of something like, okay, Tammy was over here and Red Fox's daughter was over there.
Yeah.
And Daft was over there.
And she was real close to her.
Or somebody was sitting in Daft's car.
Yeah.
You couldn't sit in his car.
Oh, yeah.
If you was a female.
I-
You know what I mean?
I pulled up one day and this girl was sitting in his lowrider. And I'm like, it wasn't nice.
Yeah. Gee, Champ, I'm hyping that, G. I'm doing that, bro.
Yo, it's crazy.
So, wait. Do you remember the first time you put hands on somebody for Daft?
Oh, yeah.
Can you bring us back to that day? Where were you guys? The first person that you had to put the beats on?
We was at Burger King.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
We was at Burger King because
Have a
every
joy, right?
Sunday, the lowriders come together and they ride on Sunday, and so this girl that liked Daft that went to high school with me, and I know she liked Daft because Daft used to be good to a lot of ladies in the neighborhood. He would give them money or whatever, and everybody wanted him, but I'm the one that got him. And so this particular person was talking trash. I heard through the grapevine through other people from my school. So I caught her up at Burger King and I put hands on her.
In the parking lot inside Burger King, what we doing?
The parking lot inside Burger King. I mean, it's like a lot of lowriders and cars and stuff like that. And then I was stumping her. And so she still wanted more.
What? She didn't give up?
She didn't give up. Remember, she came, because Daft's like, let's get out of here because they're going to call the police or whatever. And he was like, what happened to you? I was like, I just seen red. And so then when he took me home and everything. And so the fight continued, came back to my neighborhood. So I went in the house, and told my mama what happened and everything. And the girl came like on my block. And my mother was like, you get out there and you squabble with her. For real.
Gee, stop that, man.
Yeah.
Yo, I just,
Gee, chill, bro.
So it's just, a combination of things that build up in me as a little girl. And it don't necessarily mean that the things that my parents taught us or we seen that they was wrong. They didn't know either.
I think it was with my grandmother. I know it was like, don't let nobody disrespect you. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's what they really pushed the line on. If somebody disrespect you, you know what I'm saying?
Gotta squabble.
You know what
Yeah.
you got to do. Teach
Facts.
them, learn them some respect.
And if somebody pushing up on your man, that's disrespect.
Yo, are you so fascinated with that? Somebody was pushing up on him, man. Stop, man. You sure you didn't overreact?
Oh no, I didn't overreact. A woman has an instinct. Even as a little girl, I had an instinct about things. So I follow my instinct.
What was your go-to move? Tell us your move. I'm trying to picture it. I'm closing my eyes. What was your go-to move, your signature move, or how you got him? Punch in the face, stomach, a trip? What was it?
Oh, definitely. You want to go for that face. Straight to the face. And then I like that headlock. I love to put somebody in.
Why?
I don't know, because you get them in that headlock, and you just reel on that head, and then you just got them. You gonna pat out or what?
They can't get out the headlock?
They can't get out that headlock. It's like, for me back then, it was like that. I think the anger that from getting evicted and my parents not being together, you don't. How do you get over that? It's just suppressed and build up inside you. And so when somebody push you to a certain level, you just, all that anger and frustration, you take it out on them and you don't even know.
right.
Yeah, she was looking for a reason.
That's all.
You know what I mean?
That's all.
To go there. And you know what I mean? It's like a lot of people's like that. When you have different issues that haven't been dealt with.
Yeah.
It's still bottled up in there. You
Internal.
think it's, and it just happens. You just snap. You just go there.
Yo, so like, what? At what age did you think you realized that you were doing these things because of how you grew up? The eviction notice, like, at what age did you kind of understand? Okay, I'm out here wilding because of this, or did you,
To be totally honest, I didn't realize that until after I went to prison and came home and actually sit down with a therapist and to deal with those issues of my childhood. Because in order for me to minister or evangelize or to teach someone else, I had to deal with my inside issues first. So I had to get all of that out of me in order to minister and to tell other people my story, to know that if I can get through it, into it, and be who I am today, you can too. And you can change, God gave me a second chance to get it right before I transpired to the other side.
Gotcha.
I got it right today.
So, you beating everybody up. You don't want nobody talking to him.
But now why Champ talking about me? Champ was a little squabbler too. They called him Champ
Go,
for a
the
reason.
name,
Yeah. Champ, let's go. How you got the name Champ?
I don't know what she's talking about.
You know.
He pleading the fifth on that
Champ,
one.
don't do that to me, Champ.
My grandfather, they used to call him Champ. So I was like young Champ or little Champ or whatever, because I was always with him. And like, he would go to the pool hall. He was cold with that pool game. And, bet and do his thing. And then I got to go to the liquor store and get the crushed sodas and whatever, all that good stuff, And he worked for the city. So he used to ride one of them yellow trucks with the hard hat. And I used to be in the truck with him. So that's really originally where it came from, was him, because they used to call him Champ. So that's where.
But when Jemeker say that you was a squabbler, what were you doing?
Well, I never started anything.
Champ, chill out, man. Let's talk this crazy
No,
stuff.
I'm telling you, man, I never started anything. See, me and her situation was different. She used to kick it off. She used to start it. I used to finish it. So it was a difference. You know what I mean? And I think because I wasn't the biggest cat in the neighborhood, a lot of times, you know how that is with suckers, they try to take off on the little guy. You know what I'm saying? Not knowing that the little guy is with it.
And you were with it.
Absolutely.
So, so,
Because I had a little chip on my shoulder too. You know what I mean?
and what was your chip?
Well, I mean, we basically came out the same way with the same little issues as far as like, you know, the coming from a broken home and whatever. You know, so all of that stuff is still in there because, you know, we didn't go to therapists. We didn't deal with all that, you know. And then you got a little man stuff going on too that you don't address, you know. So all of that is in there. You
Can
know?
I ask y'all a question? This is both of y'all. Did any one of your family members end up on drugs?
Yes, my brother did. But his wasn't crack. His was PCP.
Oh.
And he was doing drugs before I even became a drug dealer. Tony, my brother, he was 5 years older than me. He was actually the same age as Dad. And so he used to get high. Yeah.
And then one of my guys that I just looked up to, that I idolized, you know what I'm saying? He used to have them new Cadillacs, and, you know, he was the man. He was much older than we were. And one day I was getting some gas in the gas station, man, and he pulled up and was trying to clean my windows, man. He was done. He didn't even look like himself. And I could just vaguely recognize him, like, in here a little bit, because he was all screwed up and just done, dusty. You know what I mean? So he's trying to clean my windows. And I'm looking, I said, you know, so I hollered at him, man, no, man, get in the car, man. Man, what happened, man? You know, I was like, you know, because that's the first time I saw somebody that I knew that was like this, like that. You know, that was my first experience actually seeing what the cocaine was doing to the neighborhood. You know what I mean? So when I seen him, I said, man, what happened, man? You know, I needed to know, you know, what happened. And then he said, you know, he was fooling with this female, and, you know, the female was getting down, and she talked him into it, you know, and he said he'd been chasing that thing ever since, that first high that he got. So I was like, man, what was it like? You know, he said it was like sex, but better. So by him telling me that and me seeing what it did to him, that's why I never had no problems with it. Because if it was better than sex, I didn't want to know nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, look what it did to him. So what make you think that you going to handle it? You know, it was some people that was functional. You know, a lot of the jokers that was selling it was on it. You know what I'm saying? And they was able to do it. Just like some people can have a drink or two and be good. And some jokers going to drink themselves to death. And that stuff was the same thing. He was smoking himself to death. So I put him in the car, went and got him a room, got him cleaned up. And at this time, I had a clothing store. So, you know what I'm saying? I took him to the store and got him some gear and everything else. And one thing about a smoker, he knows how to cook. He knows how to bring that thing back. He's not going to waste no dope or burn up no dope or nothing. So I started hollering at him to cook, you know, for us. So then he started cooking up all our dope. And then I turned him on to other people that was selling dope. And he started cooking for all of them. And he came all the way back up. And he got off the dope.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, seeing that, did that affect you guys with selling it? Like, did you feel like you shouldn't be doing that to your people in your hood and your friends and, you know, people that you're selling to? Did that make you not want to sell it anymore?
Well, at this time, the level that we had gotten to, you didn't really have to see it because you wasn't curb serving no more. Now you was selling to people that was buying the birds. So you didn't really see it like that because wherever you was doing your business, you wasn't going in the neighborhood doing it. You meet a joker where you meet him.
Right.
And you just see him and his money. So you're not really seeing the effects of your drugs.
Got you.
You know?
But for me,
And plus, we make excuses, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To do what we want to do when we getting that bread. You know what I'm
of
saying?
course.
We blinded. We got them
yeah,
blinders on.
totally
You know?
blind. But for me, with my brother, when I would see him like that, it would get to me, and he'd be like, "Hey sis, let me hold some," and I would bring him to my mother's house and clean him up because he couldn't. He started living on the streets, kind of, sort of, because he was strung out, but he didn't have to be strung out. Because every time I seen him, I gave him money, I gave him dope. I just like, you don't have to do that. You know, you can come work for me. He was like, okay, I'm going to get it together, you know. And so I would take him to my mother's house, clean him up and everything. I'd give him some drugs. And then the next day I come to my mother's house and I'm like, you know, where my money? Where my cut? He smoked the dope. So I'm like, man, I can't keep on doing this. You know what I'm saying? I'm a girl. I'm out here hustling, and you can't do it. But it would bother me to see him like that, and even today, because I know I sold drugs and I destroyed people's lives from dope. When I see people out there like that, I just start praying because it gets to me. When my brother was doing it, I didn't know how to pray. I didn't know, not do what I did. All I knew was the grind was real, and I was grinding, and I wanted my money at all costs. Because one of my other brothers that, he says, well, sis, can you buy me a car? I'm like, I'm hustling. I'll give you some stuff to get you some money. So I gave him an ounce. I wait a week. He don't say nothing. I waited 2 weeks. I'm like, you can get rid of an ounce. You got friends that, do whatever. And so then 2 weeks went by. I'm like, hey, brother, where my money? He goes, sis, I'm like, you better give me my money. And he was like, I ain't got it. I said, well, what did you do? He done gave the drugs to one of his friends, and his friends then ran off with his money. I'm like, you done let somebody run off with your money. But he wasn't no hustler. That brother, he wasn't no hustler. He said, I just can't do it. I just don't know. I said, I'm on the corner selling, and my feelers.
And that's how
saying I got it.
Yeah.
And you a dude and you can't do it, but you want to ask a woman for some money? No, get out of here with that. But you just go get a job and I'll take care of you.
Yeah. That's how I felt about the PCP, though. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Because I seen that. I actually, seen that. I remember they used to get jokers in the neighborhood to test it. And they would smoke that thing and get butt naked and take off running down the street. And you could actually see them getting high. Like say we kicking it right here like everybody's good. Then all of a sudden, a joker hit that thing and you see their eyes light up, pulling off their clothes, everything. Hear their feet slapping, running down the street. And when I saw that, when I saw that, I knew that I couldn't fool with that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want no parts of it. And then when I smelt it, oh man, that stuff is it's a very distinctive smell. And when you smell it, you'll never forget that smell. I remember one day we was driving down the street one time and we smelled it. And we was like, we both looked at each other. Is that
PCP?
Like, wow. I couldn't.
Yeah.
And that's another one that you can really come up like real quick. Yeah.
PCP.
Ooh, what? Man.
Chill out, Champ. Don't go there, Champ. Hold on, Champ.
No. I'm just saying.
Champ,
that's another one of them overnighters.
Yeah, you know where we at now.
Yeah, that's an overnighter. But but are you trying to do that to somebody? You know what I'm saying? You got to think about that too. Yeah. So, like where you at with it? So you gonna make some money off just killing somebody, huh?
Yeah.
You with that? You good with that? I'm not good with that.
But back to the original question, we, like Champ said, we just was focused on the money. The money was our control.
Yeah. We was doing the wrong thing for the right reason in our mind. We thought it was right, but wrong
excuses.
is wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong is wrong.
So you get pregnant, right? And you said last thing you were beating up people. You even had a fight at 9 months old. Put people in the headlock.
9 months pregnant.
9 months pregnant. Excuse me. Exit.
Not 9 months old.
Pardon me. Thank you. 9 months pregnant. Now, and this time you guys still selling birds, as we call it here. Cocaine, we call it birds and stuff. Yeah. And when does it change to crack?
Probably right after I had my son. Because we sold powder for a while, and then it went from powder to crack cocaine.
Tell us, do you remember that? Who put you on to crack cocaine? Or was it somebody put DAF on, he came and told you about it?
I think then somebody came to that with DAF. And then DAF brought my brother in, and then they were trying to, learn how to cook. Because back then, you would hire people that did the cocaine to come and cook your powder up and to make it into crack. But we eventually all learned how to do it.
What you mean? You know how to cook at one point too?
Oh yeah, you have to. I mean, it's a business.
How long was the trial and error?
Oh no, quick. Because you can't waste your dope. That's you don't waste dope. You know, you may waste it maybe a day or so, but you learn how to cook quick because that's your money, that's your job, that's your business. You know, and for me, when I was in the drug game, I just wanted to be good at it. You know, I didn't know. You know, like I heard Joe Osteen say, you know, whatever you do, you be good at it. And I was good at being a drug dealer. You know,
the best that you can
I
do.
didn't even realize then that I was a businesswoman. I didn't realize it. I just wanted to be good at what I did, and that's one thing that I was good at. So no, you're not gonna waste no dope. That's money.
And with the crack cocaine, things started moving much faster.
Oh, so much faster. Like skyrocket. I mean, I can't even believe when I look back how many people that I knew that I was around, like that was in the game. You know, I don't like to mention people's names, but it was just so many big drug dealers that I became friends with, and they were all men, no women. So I was a woman able to associate with some of the biggest drug dealers around the world because I traveled. I said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to be international. So I was like Chicago, Atlanta, New York, Detroit, St. Louis.
You was out here in New York?
Oh, definitely.
I don't know if I believe that.
Okay, don't believe it. You don't want to?
You was out here for real?
Oh, definitely. Because see, the thing is, when you become international, you don't have to touch everybody that you do business with. So, I had a guy in L.A. that ran New York, but it was my dope. He couldn't get it to New York if he made the connection, but the people in New York didn't know I was the connection. You understand what I'm saying?
I see, yeah.
So
You were behind it. You were behind the scenes.
behind the scenes
Yeah, the big cone.
of the empire.
So real quick, did they treat you any differently? You being the only female in the game like that?
Absolutely not. They treated me like a man. You know, I was doing what they did,
Right.
and I was like one of the only women that can go up in that man's world and talk on their level. It's just now that I'm saved, I don't talk the way I used to talk.
Right. Of course.
It's just totally different. But, you know, it was nothing for me to go up and say, you know, what's up, you know, my nigga, what's up? You know.
Hey.
Flashback.
But, you know, what's up? You know, I mean, it was like they knew, you know, because if it was like, if they were out, they would come to me. If I was out and couldn't get my connect, you have those connection. But it's only certain people that you vibe with,
Right.
that you trust. I didn't trust everybody. You know, like it was this white boy that came up from selling my drugs. And my cousin used to work for me, and he would always come to me and say, I want you to meet this white boy. And I said, no, that's police. I don't want to meet no white boy. You deal with him. And that white boy became a big drug dealer. And so he knew that he was selling my drugs because he would always go to my cousin and say, hook me up with Jemeker. And I said, But in the end, even though that white boy made a lot of money, he did become an informant later.
Sure did.
So my instincts was right. You know, and he knew he got his drugs from me, but I never exchanged with
But he
him.
didn't
Like
tell
10
on
years
you.
later, but he didn't tell on me. But he told on everybody else, and he was on the news. I seen it on the news when I was in prison. He got busted.
Yeah. Because I remember everybody started going out of town because you can get so much more out of town. But me, I'm cool. I'm gonna stay right here with these cats I done grown up with. I know where their mamas stay. They know where my mama. You know, cats you grow up with, you feel a certain kind of way about. You know, like that's your fam. Now, if y'all want to go out of town and do whatever, do that. I'm gonna get mine right here. I ain't taking no L's. You know what I'm saying? None of that. But that out of town stuff, it just was a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? You get a little more bread, but I mean, you taking more risk too.
Right.
You
And
know
I
what I'm saying?
wanted a little
I was
more
taking
bread.
enough risk. You know what I
I'm
mean?
going out of town.
But this one here, she wanted it all.
I was
Yeah,
going out of
everything,
town.
right.
You know?
I want to say,
But I have a question real quick though. The question I have is that there was a story that you told, right?
Y'all getting some fresh stuff tonight.
Yeah, you know, well, you know, we clean.
Yeah.
So we took, we all clean. We took showers, so we gotta keep it fresh.
Hey.
I'm trying to keep my lines like my man Chair. He got the lines. It said that you shot at Dav. Can you tell me what happened?
Daft didn't come home one night. And so I said, I had found a parking ticket in his car. And so I hired an investigator to follow him. So he confirmed that parking ticket was at the same place he was at. So, we was kind of like beefing because, I was on nag mode, and I just felt that he was cheating on me. And so I got up in the middle of the night, went to where that address was, and he wasn't parked in the front. He was parked in the back. Some say go to the back. Went to the back, seen his truck, set that alarm off. He sent her out there to turn that alarm off, and it was on and popping. So when she ran back in the house to get away from me, Daff was coming out the door. And then he, we had a shootout.
Hold on. Whoa, slow down. Let me pull this down real quick.
Oh, it's down again. Laptop down.
Hold on.
this is different.
Gee,
This is
you had a
different.
shootout, both of y'all?
We was shooting at each other, me and Daff. And we wasn't trying to hurt each other, but I'm like, we just like establishing something
Not
here.
to put out there, but that wasn't the first one.
Oh man.
Because one time he didn't come home. Another time he didn't come home. And when he walked in the door, I just started shooting. Bam. I kind of like just blanked out. Because I'm like, no, you're not going to be married to me and just come home any time of day. And you can't tell me that you working. Because we work together. We did everything together. But when he started blowing up and the women started coming and different friends that he was becoming friends with that we didn't know together, their girlfriends had a friend that they would introduce to Daff. But I don't know it. You know what I'm saying? And so here go the women. But it took two. So I'm going to get you and I'm going to get her. Because both of y'all went in together.
So
But y'all can go together, but just leave my money here.
So let me ask you a question. So there was no, so you're riding around with one of them things on you, because not riding around, but you had one of them things near.
Every day.
And I'm curious to see that you press the alarm, she come outside, you put the beats on her, he come out, you start busting at him, but not to hurt him, but just to let each other know, like, and he busts back. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was beefing at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And when did you get married to him, though? When did you get married?
When after I had my son.
Okay, you had.
After I had my son, we got married.
Like, what type of wedding was it?
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas wedding. Okay, so now that happened, but you were that wasn't your first time busting your gun, was it?
Nor the last.
And the funniest thing, when I don't know, when I knew Daff was cheating on me, I said in my mind, I know this is wrong now. I said I'd kill him before I let a woman have him. Because we had built this big empire, and we're balling out of control. I didn't want to share none of that with nobody. I was greedy. So I actually my gun was registered. I actually went and bought a gun in my name, never been arrested, never been to jail. And so I carried a Chanel purse, and I kept my gun with me every place I went.
But
I mean, it is tough though, because now he cheats on you, or let's say he leaves you. Yeah, like you say, you build an empire. So now, how do y'all work together with him doing that? You know what I'm saying? Still,
well, he never left me.
No, I'm just saying if he was to leave you, I see where the frustration could come from. You know what I mean? Like if he left or whatever the case is, you guys have this big empire, work together with everything. So now, how do you continue the business if he's over here, you over here?
Well, this is what I said to Daff. And I never said this in an interview, but I'm going to say it to you guys. I said, if you leave me, then, because see, I'm the one with the connection. You ain't getting no dope.
what? Can't do that, Mr. Jemeker. Nah, I can't do that, man. What's wrong with you?
So you can go on and be with them, but me and you made this money together. But I got the connection. You don't have the connection to the Colombians. I do.
She don't play around, man.
What movie did you watch that made you like this? What was the old cowboy? What was his name? John Wayne or one of them crazy. What made you like this?
I don't know. I think it's, like I said, not dealing with the angers of, a little girl.
She was serious,
that,
man. What?
I wanted to be the best at what I wanted to be, and I didn't know. I was foolish. I was young.
Understood.
I'm not happy with the things that I did and the mistakes I made.
Right.
When I look back, I'm like, wow, I'm blessed to be alive. Because I did some crazy stuff, running up on women and, jumping in a man's face and hitting them like I can't whoop no man. But in my mind, I thought I could. And I just took chances. I took risks.
Have you ever got beat up before?
Never got beat up before.
Never.
Ever.
Never took an L.
Ever. Never took a loss. Ever.
Ever
Not
got
in jail?
jumped?
No, never got jumped. Because I remember one time I was downtown and I felt somebody was finna rob me. That was the only time I felt that somebody was finna rob me, and I was by myself. And I was going to the jewelry store. And I just, when I felt that person was gonna rob me, I just went in my purse and just started walking with the gun in my hand. Yeah, come on. And I'm saying, come in my mind, I'm talking to myself because I felt this instinct. So I said, I'm just going to pull my gun out and just start walking down the street. I don't care about no police, no nothing. I didn't feel safe. I felt that he was finna jack me or try to rob me. So praise to God. I never been robbed. I never been jacked. God was covering me in my sin. And it's a verse in the Bible that says, God would make the crooked way straight. The grass withers, the flowers fade away, but the word of God would stand forever. And because when I was a little girl, God planted that word in me through my grandparents. So even when I was selling drugs and delivering drugs, it was wrong, but I felt that I was helping. So I would always pray and say, God, get me there safely. Don't let nothing happen to me. I didn't know what I was doing then. I didn't know that God would set me up for purpose for now. Because I would always say, thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus. That because people were getting robbed, people were getting jacked, Because even Daft, they tried to jack Daft one time. But Daft fought him off. And here it is. Before he got killed, some of the closest people to him.
So, before we get into that, you guys had a house. How many homes did you have? Was it that one big one down the block from Michael Jackson?
Yes.
And then how many cars you guys had?
Probably about 6.
So, you living good, everything is going good, connects good.
We lived in one house, but we had several crack houses.
Got you. And nobody knew where you lived.
Nobody knew where I lived, but the closest people to us.
Okay.
And even when I stayed in Encino, not too far from the Jacksons, Jackson stayed down the street from me, around the corner from me, all of them lived in Encino. We were, at that time, some of the very few blacks that lived out there. My mother never even came to my house in Encino. Never. Until Daft died. Till Daft got killed. So we didn't invite people to our house. We had cameras. We can see who's in the house. Cameras in the house and outside. So we didn't invite people to our house. So if somebody come in to try to rob or jack Daft, it had to be somebody that knew us.
Smart. So, bring us to that day. You said that, and I want to know your opinion on it. The story is that he was gambling at a car wash, and somebody just came in and shot him. Do you think that? First, I want to know about that day. Then I want to ask: do you think that? Because you said it earlier, you hinted. Do you think it was somebody that might have knew him or that he was aware of to know where he was at? Somebody that was, I don't want to say close to him because close to him may be a stretch, but somebody that was in his circle, maybe. Don't look at Champ. She making. Because Champ don't like to talk, man. That's my man. We gonna get the Champ.
Well, it's just like a lot of people at that time when he got to that level, it was a lot of girls that was trying to get with him, and some of the females had guys. So they was already jealous because he had the bread and everybody loved him. Now, your girl is looking at him too. You see what I'm saying? So I think it had a lot to do with jealousy more than anything. And it was someone close. Well, it was someone from his circle. You know what I'm saying? Like anytime something like that happens, a lot of times it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? In most cases. Because somebody came up there. He was inside gambling. They called him outside. You see what I'm saying? So he went outside, and then when he went outside, that's, when he was shot. Because they didn't shoot him inside. They shot him outside.
They shot him outside.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that, and honestly, we don't do no telling or talking here, so.
No, you won't get that from me.
Yeah. Never. I can tell. Nor him neither, nor Champ. But honestly speaking, because when I watch and she tell the story, and when you tell the story, it's like, oh. But did the hood know what went on? Meaning, did people know what happened?
I don't think that people really knew because it was that close. So I think that it was a lot of different stories that went around. It was this person, it was that person, it was this person. So you know how some of that stuff that goes down, it's like, nobody really knew but the people that knew.
Got it.
Well said.
That's a well said answer. But I can't let you go like that. That's all right. So
I was waiting to see.
That was a good. That was good, and I'm gonna respect it. But I just gotta. All right. Did it? Did it ever boil down? Like, did it ever, you know what boil down, when the water boils down, how close it is. Did it ever boil down where people were able to say, oh, okay, I know what's going on? That's all I asked. Did it ever boil down, Champ?
Well,
except for the people in the circle that knew, but did it ever boil down?
After he was killed, the murder rate went way up in L.A. Way up.
I got it. Leave it at Got you. I'll leave it at that. All right. The day, how did you find out what happened?
Daff never really.
Talking to Mike.
Daff never really leaves the house on Sunday. Mm-hmm. And this particular Sunday, he wanted to go gamble. I don't know why. But anyway, I was mad. Because I was like, saying, why are you even still gambling? It was just something he loved, And I said, don't go. And believe it or not, I got into an argument with him because I'm like, it's Sunday. We kicking it. He said, no, I'll be back. I'll be home early. Mm-hmm. And I was like, whatever. And that was his getting out the door. But now that I look back, it was other things going on that I didn't know about. And
what do you mean?
Well, somebody told me he pulled up in the car wash. The police said he was with a woman when he was at the car wash. So that's what I found out later after he got killed. So I felt like he was trying to get out of the house, to be with a woman. But
yeah, I think the woman might have set him up.
That's what I'm thinking.
All right, let's So you get the call, so the police call you?
No. Everybody was calling me. News spread it fast that Daff was killed. And so...
But was it on arrival, or like did he go to the hospital? Was it a DOA on arrival? Or
yes. He died right there. A bullet. One was to the skull, straight. It split his skull in half, as a matter of fact. And I was in the Valley. He was in L.A., so I grabbed my son and my brother, and I was flying to L.A. and like doing 100 miles an hour going to his mother's house. And everybody, the whole block was like just, you couldn't even get on the block. So I knew he was dead because nobody could confirm when they called he was dead. They just said he was shot. But I felt he was dead. I just felt it. And then, as a matter of fact, his body stayed at the car wash for a while until the coroners picked him up. And then I was able to identify him, that was my husband that was dead. One of the worst days of my life. Your high school sweetheart, your friend, your ride or die, your Clyde, I'm his Bunny. And we was getting that paper together, and I actually went into hibernation after he got killed because I'm like, Daff, I don't ever remember him going to church, and I didn't go to church when I was with him. So it was me, him, and my son. It was family. It was us, besides, the team, we had team that, people that we trusted, that didn't turn on us, that still was there even after, Daff got killed, that I got out the game, but I came back in the game because of certain loyalty that I had to the game with certain people that, said, that took care of things for me. that I trusted, that Daff trusted, because it was people that was in my life that you know, you can feel the vibe on good people and bad people and grimy people and scandalous people. And it was people that it was some people that was with us that I had a lot of love for. And it was the ones that I didn't feel the trust that I tried to tell Dad, they ain't for you. But he didn't listen to me. But I didn't trust them. I didn't like them. It was something about them that I didn't feel. But it was the ones, and those are the newcomers. The ones that was there from the beginning of the grind, they still there to this day. But them new ones that come into your life when they see you coming up and, you know, you making it and, you know, they get jealous, the new people. But the people that knew you before you had the money, when you was curb serving, they still there.
So you go into hibernation, and you know, how long were you in hibernation for?
I don't remember exactly how long, but you know, probably like 6 months. You know, maybe 9 months. But it was my son fell in the pool at our house, and my brother was there, and my best friend had moved in with me because I was just out of it. And my brother was saying, my son fell in the pool. Anthony's in the pool. Anthony's in the pool. And I heard that, and I ran out, jumped in the pool, grabbed him out, mouth to mouth, calling 911. Ambulance come, take him to the hospital. He's in the hospital like for 5 days. And so some, you know, DAF top workers, you know, came to the hospital. It was like, Jemeker, we need you. I'm like, what do you mean you need me? You know, you good? You all right? Well, we got family. We got mouths to feed. We need you. Okay. Let me make it happen. I'm back in the game. Not even a couple of weeks later. I'm back in the game. And
when did you cross that path again, though?
Jemeker?
Yeah. What was I doing?
No, actually, not really. Not really. Again, I think the next time I probably really saw you, cause she was through with the clubs and all that, cause you know Daff was gone. That's the only time I really seen her was like in the club when she was coming to beat somebody down. You know what I mean? So I didn't really see her, and then it wasn't like she wasn't my connect. She had a direct line. I had a direct line. So there was no reason, you know what I'm saying, to really see her. You know, I think the next time I saw her is when she got out of jail, because I went to jail before she did.
Tell us your story about,
come on, spit it out.
you know,
About,
you know,
what,
you were making moves, moving and shaking,
Uh-huh.
You were moving and shaking. What type of hustler were you, though? Real quick, Champ. Like, what type of hustler were you?
man, I just wanted to see everybody eat. You know what I'm saying? And I never wanted, like, you know how some guys, they want to be that guy. You know, look at me and I'm the man. I never really wanted that. I just wanted the money. That was it. And I wanted everybody to have money. I didn't want to be the only one with it. You know what I'm saying? Let's build a dream team. Let's everybody eat. You know what I'm saying? Let's get money. You know, and that's how it was. You know, so like our little team that we had, we all grew up together, and then it was like, you know, when we didn't have no work, we was off. I didn't go get some work from this person or that person or this person. You know, when my people was out, we was off. So a lot of times I would plan like vacations where, you know, I would take, you know, jokers out the neighborhood and just show them, you know, different stuff. Because a lot of people never left their neighborhood on me. Never. So the stuff that I was exposing myself to, I started exposing them to as well. Because I wanted them to, you know what I mean? I wanted everybody to win. You know, I really did. And I felt like they were making me. You know what I'm saying? Because I wouldn't have the bread I was having without them. So why not, you know, So it was you know, that's how I was about it. And I used to like try to think everything out. You know, I was a thinker. I would try to think everything out. You know, what's the best way to do this? What's the best way to do that? You know, because you got to have a plan. A man without a plan is nothing. You know, so you got to have a plan. So I would plan everything out. So it was like, you know, and then just instruct. This is how we doing this, and they trusted that. You know what I mean? So it ran like a clock. You know, until like one of my partners got a little case, and he had to sit down for a minute. And he befriended somebody while he was gone, you know, his celly or whatever. So when he came home, you know, he has this other cat now. Oh, this was my celly. He's good people. He's this, he's that. You know what I'm saying? We was up in there together and woo, woo, woo. So I can relate to that. You coming home, not having none. Okay, that's your man. It's all good. So he got back active and was doing what he was doing. And, you know, they used to get consignment. So this one particular time, just how like she was saying, when she felt that you know, somebody was finna do this and that, I used to get them same feelings. So he had called me one time and wanted to do something, and I just didn't feel it. You know, so I would say, let's. It was on a Friday, so I said, well, I'm cool. Let's go to breakfast tomorrow. So he said, okay, bet. So when we went to breakfast, you know, he looking all sick in the face. You know how you could tell somebody's manner was like, man, what's good? Oh man, you know, they caught the folks at the airport and this, that. I'm like, what is he talking about? I'm lost right now. They caught folks at the airport because I'm giving you consignment. So caught who, what? How did they catch something? You haven't got nothing. Come to find out, he done took the bread and went and made a purchase for somebody else because he couldn't wait. And when he did that, the folks got caught up with it. So I tell him, okay, you made a mistake. Everybody's entitled to make mistakes, you know. I made several. So I said, look, this is what we're going to do. I got a little real estate girl. I'm going to connect you with her. You should have a little bread left. We've been doing this thing for a minute. I'm going to hook you up with her. Leave the town alone completely because somebody's going to tell. And they trying to build a case on you, and you don't want to give them no help. So maybe a couple weeks later, my man that was my man that had hooked me up with this cat that was his cat, you know what I'm saying? He calls me. And I'm like, what's up? I'll meet me over here. We go sit down. And he's like, man, you don't have no work? I said, yeah, I'm good. Why, what's up? So he said, well, old boy called, you know, looking for something. The cat, they got twisted up to the people. I said, looking for something for what? Like, because I'm thinking right now, why are you doing something when you already know, you know, you hot right now, bro. Mm-hmm. You need to get somewhere. Find you a cave or something to stay in. You know what I mean? So when he told me that, and I'm like, well, where is he trying to go? He said he's trying to go up the way. He's going to the town where they could. And that man had lost his mind. So now I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to call him nothing. I'm deleting his number, all of that. I don't even want nothing to do with him. Well, I see him in the club. And I approach him and I tell him, you know, you throwing rocks at the penitentiary. You know what I'm saying? I'm good on you. It's cool. I speak to you when I see you. Don't call me, and I'm not gonna call you. And it was just like that. Like he was laughing, but I was like dead. And that was that. Within a year's time, he was locked up. And long story short, he ended up giving up me and sister, brother, and everybody else that he could tell on to try to tell his way home. And I ended up with 10 years, and he beat me home, and he supposedly had all day.
Well, hold on, come on. I know you want to be cool, man, but let's just, come on, man.
What happened?
Come on, bro. You my man. Come on, I told you this. So he told on you.
Right.
He told on you.
But I wasn't the only one. He told on everybody that he knew. He told on his own family members.
Mm-hmm. But
because really, when you have a life sentence, mm-hmm. It's like you're not just gonna tell on one person and they're gonna let you out. It's not that type of party. Mm-hmm. So it's like you gotta tell your way to the house. Mm. So every time they get a conviction, That's a little more time. That's a little more time. That's a little more time. So he told himself all the way home.
But so he told on you, but they didn't get you.
No. Well.
Oh yeah.
Okay, let me.
Yeah.
Okay, let me give you the rest. I was just trying to give you the short version. You know what I mean? I don't want to just hog the mic. You know what I mean? But what happened was one of my other buddies, my partner, he was under investigation, and we used to work out together at the gym. So I used to call him. He used to call me because we would coordinate when we were going to work out, every day. Mm-hmm. So when they came to get him, they got everybody that talked to him because they gave everybody a conspiracy that talked to him on a regular basis. They said that we had knowledge of what he was doing. Mm-hmm. What does that have to do with me?
What is going on? Every time you talk, it does this.
You know what I mean? What's going on? What's really going on?
My phone off, champ.
Yeah, shut it down.
Every time you talk, it's the second
time. I'm getting a little uncomfortable now.
Nah, I put my hand like
every
this.
Time
every time you talk, I don't know what your voice is doing. Yeah. I turned it off, man.
Okay, good. So he's under investigation, and they say they made everybody part of a conspiracy because they said we knew what he was doing. I don't understand that. I'm not DEA. So if I know what he's doing, what does that have to do with me? Am I doing it? Because see what happened when the other cat got twisted up, I shut it down because I was good. I had enough.
You wasn't greedy.
Yeah, I was good. I had enough. So when dude got twisted, I'm done. I went in a whole nother direction. Clothing store, property management company, tree trimming service. I mean, property, I went in a whole nother. I'm good. I'm done. The same thing I told him to do, I did it. So I wasn't tripping people that were still active because I wasn't. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I didn't know you can get twisted up just with association, even though you're not doing nothing.
Conspiracy.
Yeah. So they come with the conspiracy and say we had knowledge of what he was doing. So when they lock him, when they come to get him, they came and got everybody at like 4 in the morning or something like that. Different people's houses. They hit everybody, and they took us all to the forum. They had everybody's whips out there and boats and everything all out there, the news people, everything. We all like we on a chain gang or something, you know what I mean? It was all bad. So we all looking at each other because I know I'm not fooling with you. You know you're not fooling with me. Why are we all here? So everybody's just looking at everybody like trying to figure out what's going on. Mm-hmm. So then that's when they come in and they asking us about him. What do you know about him? I don't know nothing about him. Is it something you want to know about me? And that was that. So everybody had the same little get down. But once we get downtown to MDC and they start running a worldwide check on everybody, they trying to find anything, anywhere, on anybody. Mm-hmm. So as soon as they say Champ, ding, 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 they take a picture of me to this cat that was my man's man. And he got an indictment with 20 people on it. He said, oh yeah, that's Champ. You see what I'm saying? So they put me on the top of his indictment. Now that's my indictment. So then they go to everybody up under him and show them a picture and tell them who I am. And do they want to get out early? Well, I go to the pen when you can tell on a friend. You see what I'm saying?
Okay,
yeah. So all of these people was telling.
One second, man. You cool, man. You cool. I waited long enough, man.
Yeah.
I had to give it to him.
Like go to the pen, you can tell the friend.
So now all of these people was telling on me. I don't even know them. Ain't never met them.
They had a get out of free card.
Yeah, I ain't never met them.
You was the card.
So now I'm thinking on my man's thing. I already know that's nothing, and I already know I'm not doing nothing. So I'm thinking, they got the wrong one. I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? They got the wrong one. So then they come with a superseding indictment with all of this, with dude and all of his people. Oh man, you talking about sick. It was a feeling that I'll never ever forget because I remember my cousin told me when he met dude, he said, I don't like that cat. Mm-hmm. He told me. And I'm saying, man, you don't know what I'm getting from this dude because the thing with them, since I was giving them consignment, they was going out of town. They had to chop that out of town money up with me. You see what I'm saying? So now I'm looking at them dollars, and now dude he's all right. He looks better. You know what I'm saying? He ain't that bad. You know what I'm saying? Came back and bit me. You know, so that's where really I got my time from, because the phone count with me and my man that they was looking for, it was just me and him talking about going to the gym. So they said, through their experience with drug traffickers, when we was talking about the gym, we wasn't talking about the gym. We was talking about some work. So, whatever. They can make it, they can put it together however they want to put it together. But even with them phone counts, that was like 4 years, because they really couldn't put nothing together to say this, that, or the other. So I'm still like, I'm out of here. When they come with old boy stuff from out of town, oh no, 36 to life. So now that's what I'm looking at. So me and my lawyer, we go over everything on the indictment. The smallest amount they talking about was 3 or 4 keys or something like that from somebody I don't even know. So I said, oh, yeah. I plead to that. I plead to something that didn't even happen to get that 36 to life off. So they say, okay, we try to make the deal and whatever. And I'm thinking it's like going to be 5 years or something. And they say, nah, 10 years. We'll give you that, but with 10 years, because that's not enough time for you, because you're a major player in this conspiracy. So you can't get less than the people under you. And the courts have to agree to it, or you can't even get that. So now they making me plead to more than I'm pleading to, and they letting you know that you might not even get that. So when you finally get to go to court, they got you in there happy to get to 10. You see what I'm saying? So it's a
mind game.
It's a cold mind game, man. So you like happy on one respect that you got to 10, but then on another you like 10 years. That don't sound like no deal. You know. But when you're talking about 36 to life, I guess it is.
But because you are a thinker,
Oh, I was thinking.
because you're the only one that didn't go to trial.
I'm the only one that played on the diamond. Everybody was trying to like go hard in the paint. You know what I'm saying? And then later on, they like, man, you was the only one that we should have. And they ended up with more time going to trial. You see what I'm saying? Than they could have. Yeah. And they could have. And then especially when I got to the pen, you know, you start running into everybody, man. People that you forgot about. Like, I wonder what happened to him. They up in there with dust on them. Been in there forever, bruh. And they like had the same opportunity. But if somebody tell you, I'm going to give you a 10-year deal, you ain't finna take that. It's like life was 7. How you going to give me? That's not a deal. But when you talking about all day, you know, it's a deal.
But we didn't know back then either.
Nobody did.
Because it was like a sweep of so many black people in jail behind conspiracy.
Talking about the war on drugs. The war was on us. It wasn't on the drugs. We wasn't finding things over here. The war was on us, bro. And they knocked us out the box. Because the problem was money is power. And we was getting money. So we was becoming too powerful. And you moving next door to people and all of that, they like, oh, no. They got to be stopped.
So the guy that told on you, you end up being in the same jail as him.
Exactly. And that's where they put the twist down, too, because they wasn't happy with the 10 years that I got. So a lot of times they'll put you with folks that twisted you so you can really, finalize whatever you need to do to make you feel good. You see what I'm saying? And then that way, they got you forever. Because now you done did something to him, and now you can never go home. You see what I'm saying? So it's a cold twist. It's a cold twist. But that's what they do.
And when you spoke to him, you let him know that you're not rocking with him.
I just pulled up because my lawyer had already laced me up to what the twist was. And so when I got there, I went straight to the weight pile. Didn't even put my stuff up. I just put my stuff on my bunk. Asked, folks around where that dude at, and they told me where he was at. So I went out there, talked to him. We not good. We not cool. I'm not fooling with you, and you're not fooling with me. But I'm not finna do nothing to you because I know what this is about. I know why they brought me here. But, we here now. So it's like you got to figure out. Now you got to think some more. Because whenever you're not thinking, that's when you're going to twist your own self. So in every situation, you got to think. And then you can't. Anger's not your friend. That's the one thing they blessed me with in there. I didn't want to do that time. Believe me, I didn't. But they had me in anger management classes, all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it really did make me a better person because now it's like it's really hard to make me angry. I don't even go there. I don't even entertain that because I know you're not going to think straight when you're angry. You're going to do something that you wouldn't even do if you wasn't angry. You see what I'm saying? But it's no get back from that. So you got to really think before you even go there. So like mine start at my feet. I already know when I'm getting angry. Mine start down there. You can feel it. So I stop it before it get up here. Because once it get up here, it's too late. You see what I'm saying? Once it gets up here, you're done. Because you don't care. And when you don't care, you're going to do something that you're going to care about later. You don't care right now because you let it get to your head. You can't let it get to your head. You can't let nobody get to your head.
For the 9 months, did you still have money left? Like, did you save? Like, you were still good? Yeah.
That was real good.
Yeah, I can see it still. You're back in the game, and you're moving and shaking. What made you go into the hair business?
Because probably a few years after being back in the game, I'm good. And I have people that I met this guy, and I said, and I met him, and we started dating, and I knew he was a drug dealer, so he started slanging in Alton, Illinois for me, and the money's good and everything, but I said, my son is growing up. I want a different life for him. I wanted to invest my money and do something different.
And is this guy you talking about, Percy?
Percy Bratton. They call him Cheese, a.k.a. Cheese.
Well, we can see why.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it also said he was a musician.
Yeah, he was an inspiring musician.
Oh.
Played a few instruments, and he, made an album that didn't go any place.
So, chill out, Mr. Jemeker. Okay. So hold on. So you met him? Where you met him at?
I met him through one of my friends. I was getting my hair done, and her boyfriend and her owned a studio in Hollywood. And so he would come from Illinois and rent the studio out to do his music. And so we met each other like that. And then it went from friendship to business. And then I took the money that I had from DAF and I opened a hair company. It was Hair Distributors, Inc., which was one of the first black hair companies in the world, because I used to import and export and send hair all over the world. And so on a bad month, I was making $70,000 in just selling hair. So at that time, I just said, I want out the game. I'm good. I just wanted to live a good life, a comfortable life. And then a lot of my friends were getting arrested, getting killed, and I just wanted to change my life. So I actually stopped selling drugs and just started selling the hair. So I'm good. I'm out the game like for a year. To rewind, Cheese, Percy Bratton, when I found out that he was snorting the cocaine when he was doing business with me, I broke up with him.
How you found out?
Well, I used to always wonder why he was sniffing his nose, and he would just say it was allergy. And so one day we went to Magic Mountain, and I reached my hand in his back pocket, and he had some cocaine in it at the park. And I'm like, are you doing this? Make a long story short, it came out he was snorting cocaine. Because I started asking questions and talking to some of his friends that didn't know me when I came back to Illinois. And they was like, he been snorting and da-da-da-da-da, but I never knew because he didn't do it around me. Because I never, did drugs. I never smoked cigarettes. I never smoked weed. I never drank. All I did was I just felt I needed to keep a level head. I just didn't need anything to tamper with my mind. I just wanted to stay focused on the grind, the money, chasing that money. Mm-hmm. And so I broke up with him. I was done. I'm like, no, because I know what this do, So I know I'm not going to do it. And you're doing it. And you've been doing it. But you just been hiding it from me. So that explained why sometime you giving me my money slow. And I'm giving you a pass because you my guy at this time. And I don't really need the money. That's just extra money. But I'm still giving you a pass. Because I'm trying to let you come up like me. So anyway, we broke up for a year. Just, he may call every now and then, say hi or whatever. So he started dealing with some Dominican Republicans from Chicago. Got caught up. One of his workers in Illinois, he wasn't treating them right because he was snorting that cocaine. All this came out in paperwork. Anything that I say or Champ say, everything is public record. You can read our cases online. So I didn't go out like a snitch. Champ didn't go out like a snitch. All this is public record. So when
never tell on your friends, man. Always keep your mouth shut.
So anyway, he gets busted at the bus station with somebody else's drugs. I haven't sold drugs in a year. I'm going up to Barry Gordy's house, selling hair to Karen Gordy, Robin Gibbons, Janet Jackson, everybody that wore weaves, Sherelle, Mickey, just everybody.
I'm sorry. Who was your first big? Like, how did they get popping like that? Who was your first big client?
My first big client was actually Karen Gordy, Barry Gordy's daughter-in-law.
That's a big client, man.
Because I had went to Italy and found the Italian hair, and the girl that used to do my hair used to do Janet Jackson hair. But I didn't want to try it on Janet until I knew that the hair did it what it did. So I tried it on myself first. But after Karen was my first client, then myself. But I became the second client because we didn't know how to work the product. Because we was actually taking real hair and putting it on our hair. Not what they got now.
But that was that dope game in you, because it's just like with the dope. Like whoever got the best dope, you see what I'm saying? The dope sell itself. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? When you got the, even with the weed, it's like, who got the heat?
Yeah.
So what she did, she thought. And she said, who has the best hair? Mm-hmm. And they said, Italy. So she flew to Italy. Don't speak no Italian or nothing else. She done flew over there. And she just all over Italy looking for a plug.
Yeah.
For hair.
Because when you fly in to Rome, you can go to Palermo, and that's like 30 minutes away on a plane. Or you can go to Milan, different direction. That's 30 minutes on the plane. Like probably you can go from wherever I'm at now to like New Jersey, or you know what I'm saying? It's like that, but it's a plane ride in Rome. So I just went to the Embassy Suite in Italy and said, look for hair companies, and found a plug in Milan. Jackpot. The only person from the United States in Italy find the plug. Come back. Karen Gordy didn't work right. It didn't do right. So then I called one of my other girls that do hair, and I told her what was going on, Mecca. And I said, Mecca, this is what's going on, da-da-da-da-da. She said, I'll tell you what to do. And she showed me how to use my product. Then I did it on me, back in the game, but the hair game. Then did it on Janet Jackson. She loved it. She wanted my same style. When she did Pleasure Principle and she did the flip, that's my hair, Italian hair. And then it just go on. Then I would go to different hair shops in L.A. And then when all the drug dealer girlfriends and people that couldn't afford it because it was very expensive, but they wanted it, I said, I tell you what, because I didn't need the money at the time. I'm investing and I'm building. They're going to go that consignment again. So I would say to the ones that couldn't afford it, I tell you what, I'm going to put you on payment plans for the hair because you want this, right? But is it going to work on me? Yeah, it's going to work. It's on my hair. I'm black because it look like white people hair because it's good hair. It's real hair. No synthetic, no processed, no nothing. I have pictures of where I went to Italy and I'm like, wow, it's just amazing. So they'll put it on the hair. I said, if it don't work, I give you your money back. So just try it. See if it works. Don't give me no money now. But if it works, you're going to give me my money. They hooked. And then the word got out. All word, what do you call it when it's no advertisement, just by word?
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth. And so then after a couple of years of doing that, 1 year, I said, let me do a hair show. And so I would bring in Martin Lawrence, Joe Torre, Mickey Howell to sing Simply Marvelous, to do, comedy at the show. I knew Martin when he was at the Comedy Act Theater. I gave him $500 come speak at my hair show. Joe Torre, every year it got bigger. So I knew them before they was even, big.
So out of the game for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Then they catch homie.
I'm out of the game for a year. He get busted at the train station. And after probably 2 weeks in jail, he told on me.
So Cheese told.
Mm-hmm.
He told on you. And how did you find out that? Because you just said, you found out that they were looking for you.
Well, when Cheese got arrested, and I hadn't been dealing with him at all for a year, somebody called and told me he got arrested. Then shortly he called me, collect call, and he asked me would I pay for him attorney, and I said, for what? You don't owe me nothing, and I don't owe you nothing. And he still ain't telling me nothing. And so then he was like, okay. Then he was calling and talking to me. I said, what are you calling me for? All along, he trying to set me up. So next thing I know, he stopped calling because I wouldn't give him nothing. So through the grapevine, I hear he's talking. So I had an attorney up north, and I called him and I told him, I said, I think I'm in some big trouble. And I said, they're going to have to kill me. I'm not turning myself in for nothing. So could you find out what's going on? And he called, found out, yep. They talking, somebody's talking about you. Because it was other big drug dealers that got busted before Cheese that I did business with. And the feds, as a matter of fact, 23 drug dealers. It was a list of 23 drug dealers. None of them would tell on me, not one of them. and I did business with them.
Why
Would
they wouldn't
not
tell
tell.
them, you think?
Out of respect. They didn't tell on nobody. They did not tell on me. This weak link cheese, the only guy that told on me. And it wasn't even my dope, wasn't even my case. He could have just took a deal and did the time, but he told on me, his brother, his twin nieces, his best friend, his cousin, his type workers. He told on at least 10 people. 4 of his top people that worked for him, he told on them. But those 4 guys made a pact that they wouldn't tell. The guy that got arrested with Cheese, that was 8. Cheese was 20, probably 20, 21 when he got arrested. The guy that went with him to the train station, Marcus, he was 18. Marcus didn't even tell. And he had never been in trouble. Cheese told on Marcus. And it wasn't even Marcus told. Marcus was a worker. Marcus did 10 years. So when Marcus came home, he contacted me. And I never met Marcus. And he told me that when him and Cheese got arrested, he wouldn't tell, and they separated him and Cheese. So I met some of my co-defendants that I didn't know after they all got out of jail.
So the lawyer tell you on the run. Mm-hmm. You were clubbing and all that.
I said they have to kill me before I turn myself in.
You came to New York? You was turned up in New York? Or not?
No, I ended up going to Miami, Atlanta.
Oh, you over there.
Birmingham. I was like low key. I'm like, I want to square.
No low key. They say you was partying. Yeah, other names you was putting up.
Oh, definitely.
Different wigs and all that.
Yes.
So but if you want to run, how long you was on the run for?
For about 2 years.
You was on the run for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened? The hair company who was running the hair company?
The hair company was still running. My secretary ran the hair company, and then my best friend would do kind of like the celebrities for me.
And you was just on the run.
And I was on the run. And back then, we still had pagers because there was no internet. And the cell phones were like the big blocks. It was Mitsubishis, so you didn't have cameras or none of that on the cell phone. So I kind of like was moving around with alias, different names, like Lisa Jones, Wanda Jackson, whatever, I actually, because back then you can have fake IDs and, I build up credit and my other name and everything, a car in that name, I had learned very early on how to manipulate an application and go in the bank and, get a car loan and all of that. I had manipulated an application at 18, said I was 21 and got a loan and bought DAF a car in my name as a gift.
But what I'm trying to figure out is that where was the money? That means you had cash on hand then.
Oh yeah, I had cash. I had money from the drug game, and then I had money from the hair game. So when I was on the run, I still was even selling the hair because the secretary was working until the police the feds kept on coming back up to the office. So I said, well, just shut down. So what I did was I had a friend of mine pack up my whole office, and back then we had switchboard operators. So my business phone, I forwarded to the board. So anybody that called the office for hair, they thought they were still calling the office because I shipped hair all over the world. So I just still operated my hair business on the run. Easily, because I just operated from that phone. So the feds could trace the phone all they want. It's just going to the switchboard. So when the people call, Hair Distributors Incorporated, how may I help you? Jemeker's not available, but I can give her a message. They leave the message, I would like to buy 2.5 ounces or 6 ounces of Italian hair, 18-inch long. Okay, I'll have her get back to you. They page me. I get the page, go to a payphone, call them. bam.
Keep it real. Where were you staying at mostly on the run?
Well, after a year, I ended up getting a place in Westchester, California.
Oh, that's a name.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, Westchester, California. And I would walk to the gym and I would always wear a hoodie and walk to a gym and work out. And that's where I met a lot of police working in the gym. And I would just tell them I was Lisa, and they didn't know who I was.
So you want to run now? What brings you back to?
So I was out of town, and then it was my son's graduation, and I would sneak in my mother's house in the middle of the night. I wouldn't tell them I was coming or anything. Hopping the fence to get in because I didn't know what was going on. I just didn't want to be seen. But I would go like at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, where I can move and go in the back way. And I would sneak in the bed with my son. And one day he would turn on and say, "Mommy, you here?" And I say, "Yeah." And so he said, "Mommy, you gonna come to my graduation?" I said, "Yeah, I'll be there." So I go to his graduation, but I felt strange. I felt weird.
Got some feelings again.
Yeah. And that I can say when something feels wrong or right, I go by those feelings. Because more than likely it's a reason. It's like, now that I believe in God, I know I feel, not talking about religion or nothing, but because I have a relationship with God, I feel God is good and the devil is evil. Mm-hmm. So when if something in my mind say, go in that bank and rob that bank, that ain't God telling me to do that. That's evil.
Right.
So back then, something in my mind said, if you go to that school, you're going to get arrested. So I didn't want to go, but because my heart was to see my son graduate, he don't have his father, he got me. I pushed through, and I said, okay, I'm going to just take this risk. But in my mind, I didn't feel right with it. So I go to my son's 6th grade graduation, and then the feds come up behind me and say, don't make a scene. You're under arrest. This is the FBI. And I'm not thinking anything, but over the years, I remember my son had a situation at the school while I was on the run. Mm-hmm. And when I was on the run, the feds went to the school, and because I had all my son's certificates on the wall in the office, so that's how they knew where his school was. So I actually went to the school when my son told me that something happened between him and the teacher. So I went to the school to check the teacher while I'm on the run. The teacher remembered that the FBI was looking for me.
Okay.
And what do you mean she remembered, Ann?
She called the FBI when she seen me come up to that school. But she don't tell me that. All this come to me as things are happening in my life now. You understand what I'm saying? Because why would they be at the graduation?
They made it seem like they saw something on the wall.
Well, they did see the my son's. That's true. Mm-hmm. That's what made them go to the school from the beginning. But see, what the FBI, what we don't say in the story, because there's so much to my story, it's levels. You can't say everything. Look how long we've been here. Mm-hmm. And it's just so much more. And I'm giving you guys uncut stuff that I haven't even really said that's like in my movie script. You know what I'm saying?
Understand.
So I'm giving you guys some good stuff.
We appreciate it.
So
I appreciate you guys.
No, we appreciate you. So she
So I feel this is my scenario of that when I checked her, because I checked her real good about my son, she remembered the FBI came looking for her a couple of years prior. Right after that, like a month or two or so, the graduation come. The FBI is there.
Let me ask you a question. And, you know, like my man Champ, you guys answer questions funny. Whatever happened to Percy?
I have no idea. What happened to Mr. Bratton?
Oh, man. I tried to Google him, man. I don't.
I haven't seen him, and I'm not trying to see him. Where I'm at today, I'm not mad at him. He did what he had to do to free himself. I'm just not cut out like that. So because he was looking at a life sentence, in turn, I got eternal life. So I'm grateful.
So you saw him on the stand point at you?
Oh, yeah. He said, that's her right there. And he told everything from the bedroom to the streets.
Damn.
In the bedroom. He was telling her.
They had to tell him to shut up. He was telling so much information.
What the hell is wrong with this guy?
Man, that's how them snitches
Now, when you
roll,
go to the
homie.
bedroom,
That's too
You
far.
got to kick him to shut him up.
That's too far, man.
You know what I mean?
so he the day he got on the stand, he went home. Because I was on the run for 2 years. So he did 2 years.
So they said don't make a move. How long? You didn't go to, you went to trial? Or did you take it to
I went to trial because they wanted me to cooperate. And I said, I'm not doing that. They said, well, you'll never see your son again. You're looking at 25 to life, scared to death. I said, give it to me. I'm scared to death. But before I tell on somebody and destroy somebody else's life and destroy somebody else's family, I'm going to go sit down because nobody put a gun in my head and made me do anything. I made all those choices and mistakes on my own. So I'm taking full responsibility and accountable for the mistakes I made. So the ones that I hurt the most was my family and my son. Because I was willing to suffer and take the consequences for my actions. So I wouldn't cooperate. So my lawyer said, you're going to jail. You don't know anything? I said, I don't know nothing. And I had a high-powered lawyer, Larry Franks. He was Heidi Fleiss' lawyer.
Who?
Heidi Fleiss.
Who was that?
She was the madam in L.A., big madam in L.A. He was a high-powered lawyer. He just retired from being the deputy mayor of Tamara Villalgosa in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Larry Franks. So he said, Jemeker, you're going to do some time. So then he got another lawyer in the town that I was in to coach him through my trial. And the lawyer didn't do anything what Larry said. So my lawyer, actually, I was his first case in Illinois and his last case. He kind of like had a nervous breakdown.
Wow.
And he came to me because the DA came to him and said, they'll give you an 8-year deal with cooperation. I said, I'm going to trial because I didn't do anything. I'm going home. When that judge got through with me, he said, you a menace to society. You a major player. You destroy people's lives. Guilty. Guilty. Guilty on all counts. So when I got sentenced, they said 180 months. I said, how long is that? I was numb.
But what type of trial was it? Was it a jury trial or another trial?
It was a jury trial. I had a jury trial. Yeah.
So now, how long was your trial for?
2 weeks. About 2 weeks.
And then now you're going in.
Now I'm going in.
And just, how was it in there?
Well, going to prison, first of all, because I wouldn't cooperate, I was in the hole for 18 months. Because I wouldn't cooperate. Then they sent me to maximum security as punishment, which was in Marianna, Florida, behind the wall with lifers. People that would never get out, like Helen Woodson, the Manson girls, Squeaky Fromm, Griselda Blanco, all the high power cases. Only 100 women was there. It didn't hold no more than 100.
And did you talk to these people?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You didn't have any issues with them?
No, I just had like one issue with it was this Puerto Rican girl, that tested me, and because I got into right relationship with God while I was in jail, that's where I found God and who I was and loving me and getting to know me while I was incarcerated. And I made a promise to God that if you get me out of this mess, I serve you to the day I die. Keep me in my right mind and don't let me get sick. Just I serve you to the day I die. So this one girl was trying to test me, and she actually pulled a shank out on me. And she said, "You're cute, and I give you," she didn't know me, didn't know nothing about my case. She said, "I give you 5 years, they're going to turn you out." And I said, okay. And then she tested me, and then I got busy with her.
What you mean you got busy with her?
I had to...
Squabble?
Yeah, I had to get my squabble on.
Did she get the best of you?
Come on now.
The headlock thing didn't work.
No, but we fought. And I was able... I didn't even know she had a shank until it, fell, to the ground.
Right.
And so we fought, and then shortly after that, I was able to get transferred to be closer to home. Because when I got to the prison, I'm like, why am I here? I only got 15 years. And my unit manager told me, get in the law library and tell me why you here. And come to find out, because, I wouldn't cooperate, it was a mistake, because I wasn't even a high level. I wasn't a lifer. My points didn't even match where I was, but that was them punishing me because I wouldn't cooperate.
So at what point did you find God? Like, did something happen while you were in jail?
When I was in the hole for 18 months and reading my Bible, praying, I just remember the things that were implanted in me from a little girl.
Right.
I've heard, you hear about God, but I didn't understand God. So with me being in the hole, I started reading my Bible. And then one day, I just was crying because it was my son's birthday coming up. And I'm planning his birthday from jail. I'm talking about invitations, everything. He had a big pool party from jail where I told him to print out the invitations, mail them to me. I'm going to do the envelopes and mail them out to the people while I'm in jail. And so I said, God, who's going to take care of my son? And I just started crying really hard. And something inside said, put your earphones on. I put my earphones on. It was this lady singing Twyla Paris. She said, there's a mother in isolation, a father deceased, a son, he's left all alone. But Jesus told me to give you this message. Everything going to be all right.
Wow.
That was the chorus of the song, Twyla Paris, white girl. And I just started crying. I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy. God is real. He gonna take care of my son. It was like the Holy Spirit spoke to me. And I was like, I started getting myself together. Then I just started telling everybody that would come in jail about Jesus. I couldn't stop talking about Jesus. So people would say, well, how much time you got? What you do? I'm like, do you know Jesus? Do you know God? You can't help me. And so I said, God, if you keep me in my right mind, keep me young, keep me pure, preserve me, I serve you to the day I die. And I started journaling and writing everything. I've been journaling now for 26 years. And I will write down the things that I think God was telling me. And most of them have came to pass. So I'm convinced, totally convinced. So when I met Champ, when I got out of jail, he said, them feds mess you up. All you talk about is Jesus. He messed up now. Because all he talk about is Jesus. Because he's seen the transformation, in my life. So I was sentenced to 15 years. And I did 12 on 15 when I should have did 13. Because while I was in jail, my son became a pro skateboarder. And I kept on saying, God, I got to get home to my son. My son needs me. This kid is 16 years old. He's in Australia. He's in Canada. He's traveling the world. And he needs me. And then my son, me and my son would journal back and forth for a couple of years. And I would pray with him over the phone. And he would see how I would pray. And God would answer my prayers. And he was like, well, Mom, why you didn't tell? I said, because I ain't cut out like that. He said, but you could be home with me if you would have told. I said, but I was in the game to win. I don't want to go out a loser. I don't want to be known for being a rat or a snitch. Because when I was getting that money, I wanted to have a better life for you and me. I wanted to give you something that my parents didn't give me. And I don't want, when I die, they say she was a rat. She told on people. She destroyed people's lives. So I feel today that God allowed me to go what I went through to help save other people's lives. Right. It's a verse in the Bible, Genesis 50:20. It said, what the devil meant for evil, God meant for good, to help save other people alive. That's me. That's my mission, to tell my story, to help. I destroy lives, but now I'm saving lives.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Even with him, not to interrupt, but even with him becoming a pro skateboarder, that's a testimony in itself. Because he was living with her mother, and they was living in a white neighborhood. So that's how he really got exposed to the skateboarding, right. Was all the white kids. So the white kids used to tease him, tell him, go get a basketball. You can't skate. Ooh, they used to let him have it. So when Jemeker would call home, he would be on the phone crying. The kids is teasing me. They told me to play basketball. And Jemeker asked, well, what do you want to do? I want to skate. So Jemeker prayed with him on the phone that he'd be the best skateboarder and this, that, the other. And she didn't even know that he was pro. She found out like in the TV room.
Years later.
When ESPN came on and they said pro skateboarder, Anthony Mosley, and she looked up and it's her son.
So that right there really built my faith up even more. So I'm like, God, there you go again. You answered my prayer. And even when I was in jail, God said, you're going to write a book. I just have a high school diploma. I just graduated from high school. I went to college for 2 years, junior college, and dropped out because I was more into the drugs. I just went to college because I wanted to run track. I'm thinking, But that money outpowered the track for me. So I dropped out.
So now you're home now. Like, what happens after that? You come home and your whole life has changed now.
I come home.
Tell us about all the positive things you're doing now, everything you're doing from then until now.
So when I was incarcerated, I would meet women from all over the world. And I would minister to them and tell them all about God. They would go from prison to prison. So I set up a P.O. box. And when they would go to different jails, I would continue to write them and encourage them because some of them had a hard time. I'm talking about thousands of women. Even when I was in there, I would pray with women. and ask God to let them go home and keep me because they couldn't do the time. They will go to court when looking at a lot of time. And somehow or another, the case was dismissed. So the people in prison was like, wow, could you pray for me? The staff started asking me to pray for them because they would see, they listened to me pray because you got monitors when you was in the county jail, they can hear the prayers. So I started a prison ministry in jail, but I didn't know what I was doing because I got a P.O. box. I would send the letters to the P.O. box. They'll put in another envelope and send it to the ladies in the P.O. box. So because I had a list of women that I'm writing, and it would add on. So when I came home, my sister-in-law said, well, why don't you just start a ministry? Call it Second Chance. You preach, don't you? Second Chance Evangelist Ministry. I'm like, hey. So the day I got released from jail, I go to the skating ring. Champ is there, and Champ is skating with me. First he come in, he go, hey, Jemeker, it's Champ. I'm like, Champ? Come on, Jemeker, Champ. I said, oh, okay, Champ. We skated together all night. And so I don't have a job or nothing, try to get a job when nobody hired me, no nothing. God said, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all my righteousness is going to be added unto you. That's what he said from the very beginning when I was in jail. And so Champ would take me to different jobs to get a job. They would not hire me. They say you meet the par, you qualify, but that background check, they would not hire me. So Champ was taking care of me. And I said, Champ, I write these people in jail. I don't know nothing about computers. I taught myself how to, use a computer. I knew how to type. Taught myself how to use the computers, get on the internet. So the first computer I got, Champ bought me, and I Googled my name. I was like, woo! I'm the only Jemeker on Google. And I just started shaking because my cases was coming up. And so I said, Champ, I write these people in jail. So he would, buy my stamps and my envelopes and everything. And I just continued. Then my sister-in-law set me up a website, and I would start doing prison ministry, just continue to write the people in jail. And that became my job without getting paid. So then somebody else said, well, why don't you set up a nonprofit so you can get donations? I said, okay, let's do that. So I set up Second Chance Evangelist Ministry, which is a nonprofit ministry, and I write to women that's incarcerated. And from time to time, certain jails will let me come in to minister to women, and I do that. And then I go to colleges and schools, and I speak. And so Champ helped me write my book and tell my story in a book, Queenpin. And I've also am working. Champ just finished writing my movie script. So I had a movie deal with Lionsgate, and things happened there. So now I'm just reshopping my script.
How did you get fly again?
How did I get fly again?
Yeah.
Well,
Stop playing, because I don't know, like, you talking about your Champ had to take care of me and all that. I mean, you got minks on, all type of things, Gucci shoes. I don't know what those are. I know everything.
Yeah. Oh. Well, Champ takes good care of me. Okay.
Let's go, Champ.
Champ takes good care of me. But,
Champ is here.
Champ takes good care of me. But God provides. If it wasn't for the grace and mercy of God and the blessings of God that have fallen on the both of us, it's all God.
Amen.
So everything I do is for the glory of God and God only. Even with us being here, this was all God in his plan. I don't move, rock, or shake without God because I made a promise to God. So my mission is to tell my testimony, my story around the world. If I can just save one person's life, I would say mission accomplished. So Second Chance Evangelist Ministries is a 501(c)(3). You can make donations to write women that's incarcerated. I used to write men, but I only write women now because that's where my heart is, to the women. Right. Because when I was incarcerated, it was so many women incarcerated that didn't get mail, that didn't get letters, that didn't get visits. And Champ can speak for the men, because he was like, why are you writing men in jail? He said men get so many visits and so many other women that are writing them. He said, focus on the women. So,
like say, the men facilities, you get so many visits, sometimes the people can't even get in. Like your people be standing in line. The women prison, she's sitting in the visiting room by herself.
all the time, many
The
times.
women is left for dead.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a void there. It's something that that's a cold twist. Time is tough enough when you're getting visits and letters and everything. But just imagine sitting in there and you ain't getting nothing.
So my heart is, and I always post on my Instagram, find time to write to your loved ones that's incarcerated, whether it's man, boy, girl, mama, grandmother, because everybody makes a mistake. They just got caught. So if you just drop them a card, because we're out here, we forget about those people that's incarcerated.
Right.
Especially the mothers and the daughters, that's in jail. Women don't get visits. So I'm like one of the very few people that write women in jail. I wrote this one girl, Danielle Metz, that got pardoned she was the last one to get pardoned by Obama for 11 years until she got released. And I was partnered with World Vision until the donations stopped. They closed the Los Angeles facility down because they used to give me clothes and things. So when ladies would get released from jail, I'm able to give them clothes enough, for at least a month. So we have to still love on the women and our family members, whoever they are, that's in jail. Don't forget about the women that's incarcerated, because a lot of times the women is the backbone. They didn't tell on the man that's in jail, and the man gets out and forget about the woman that's doing the time for them. Unfortunately, I did the crime, so I did the time. But people, I got letters, I got visits, I got magazines. God really blessed me while I was in there. I changed my life 100%. I'm a new creature in Christ. The Bible says that if you abide in me, I would abide in you. Whatever you ask and desire, I would give to you. So that's why I feel I'm still blessed, because my desires is to please God and God only. I'm not a people pleaser. I'm a Jesus pleaser. I done been through everything there is in life to do, and I'm alive today for purpose. And I know what the purpose is. That's to help save lives. Kingdom agenda. To God be the glory.
And a lot of the women that have been released, like they'll contact her and be like, thank you so much. Your letters got me through. Even the woman that she was speaking of. I think that she had 3 life sentences?
Danielle Metz had 3 life sentences plus 28. Her
So,
story's online.
How do you do that kind of time? Like my time, I had a date.
Yeah.
And it was hard enough. How do you do time with no date?
Yeah.
You ain't never going home. How do you do that?
And Danielle, when she would go to the hole or get in trouble, because she got frustrated sometimes. And I would write her send her 2 or 3 letters every week, magazines, and say, hang in there, this gonna pass. I know she want to write me back and cuss me out, because she's like, Jemeker, I got all this time. Everybody done forgot about me. I'm losing it in here. I can't take it no more. Obama, my last hope. Obama partner. I said, and I wouldn't go where she went. I said, this will pass. Daniel, you gonna get out. I hear what you're saying, Jemeker, but everybody done went home but me. Because I didn't know her. I met her in jail. And me and her was so much alike. We didn't get along. So I actually said some harsh things to her. You will never come home. But when I got home and started writing and started the ministry, God said, write her and apologize to her. Wow. So I wrote her and I said, I'm sorry for saying those things to you. I'm going to write you until the day you come home. we squashed it, and now I wrote her every day. Not every day, but 11 years, at least 2 or 3 times a month. She became my biggest inmate person that I drew close to her to encourage her, because I felt bad for what I said to her out of anger. Out of anger. Flipping. I had to come home and get that therapy.
Well,
Real.
wow.
This gonna be a 2-part. This is a lot.
Yeah, it's over
It's
3
a lot.
hours.
Wow.
Last question for me, and then we're gonna close out. What made them come to you about your story?
Well, when I first came home, me and Champ was together, and somebody said to Champ, Jemeker should write a book. Well, I wrote in my journal when I was in jail to write a book. So Champ, for I think 2 years, we would go to meeting after meeting after meeting, and then one of Champ's friends did a DVD on me. And
I think we was going back and forth because when all that stuff came up on the computer, it's already out there. So I'm like, well, you should write a book. And then she threw it back on me. Well, you should write a book. You know what I'm saying? And I said, my story has been told before. You know what I'm saying? Yours haven't.
mm-hmm.
You know, it's a lot of men that got this same story, but how many women?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I said, we need to tell your story. You know, so after we finished going back and forth, and then she finally, like, you know, it took a minute, but she finally, like, you know.
But my story became his focus to make it happen. All I want to do was preach and lead people to Christ. And he's like, no, Jemeker, you got something here. So after a few years of taking meeting after meeting after meeting and people selling you a dream but not helping you fulfill the dream, then American Gangster called and said, we're looking for women to tell their story. And I said, okay, you know, we can do this. And I did American Gangster, and they were looking for women with redemption stories. And they said that I was the only one that was alive that had a redemption story that changed their life totally. You know, that's talking about God. So God has used me to pave the way for other women. So that was my first show. And then when I speak at colleges and stuff, things on YouTube, when every year people are looking for new content. So Netflix contacted me and said, and actually it was Netflix in London that contacted me. And they, you know, flew out here and did, you know, the documentary. And so just recently I have a new release, BET Plus, which is Trap Queens. And hopefully one of the ladies is going to come here and share her story soon, because I think that this is a great platform. I like what you guys doing and open the doors for women to tell their story.
Mm-hmm. And God is definitely using her to lead people to the Lord, because she led me to the Lord. You see what I'm saying? And that was, man, that's mind-blowing for me as well, because the devil play with your mind, especially when you, like, you know what you did. Right. You see what I'm saying? And I knew what I did. It wasn't no question. And I don't play games with myself. You see what I'm saying? And I'm definitely not finna play with God. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So I knew what I did, and he used that stuff against you, like, you know, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't go to shit, you can't, you know, you this, you that. You know what I'm saying? And it's whatever you think in your mind, that's what you are. You see what I'm saying? So he plays mind games with you. So when Jemeker came home, and I saw how much she changed, you know, because at first I thought she was playing for real. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to see what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I'm like, this girl, you know, I'm thinking, is it some type of hustle? Is it this? Is it that? You know, she ain't fell off yet. So it is what it is, you know. So that gave me hope, because I'm thinking like, man, if she could change, you know, anybody can. So it encouraged me. It gave me, you know, hope that I could change. You know what I'm saying? And I did. You know, so I mean, the Bible says, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing and favor in the Lord," and I can actually testify to that as being the case. You know what I'm saying? Because my life has turned all the way around. You know, through her and her testimony. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a beautiful thing when you could make people's life better. You know what I'm saying? We did enough dirt, but what you know, time is the most precious commodity we have, and we don't know how much time we have. We know what we did with the first part. You know what I'm saying? It's not how you start, it's how you finish. You see what I'm saying? So what you gonna do with what you got left? You see what I'm saying? So that's what our drive is, to just be the best us that we can be. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we strive to do.
And that's what I like about me personally as a woman. I shot the pilot for Trap Queen. And because God opened the doors through that pilot for 9 other women to tell their story to the world. Because there's so many great stories that for women that we haven't heard. But I'm glad that God chose me to pave the way, because a lot of times we do things and we don't like to share our bad experience. We don't like people to know. We want everybody to think everything good, or you lived a good life. No, I went through some trials and tribulations, and because of that, today I'm saved and I'm delivered. So through the pain and the shame, I'm delivered, you know. And I give God all the credit for my life. I don't push relationship or God on anybody. All I know is it worked for me.
Amen.
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 Can you give your social media and stuff?
Yes. I'm Facebook Champ Jemeker Hairston. And then I have Jemeker Hairston Facebook. And then I have Instagram Jemeker Hairston. That's Jemeker Hairston. 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 And then I have SCEM12.com, which is my website for Second Chance Evangelist Ministries.
Champ, you want to give me your
I don't think.
Oh no, I don't fool with none. I'm telling you, y'all drug me out here. I don't even fool with this mic. You know, and none of this stuff.
I guess I'm happy I picked y'all up. Yeah. You vibed, man.
Yeah.
2 for 1 special, right?
Yeah, two times.
2 times.
Yeah.
All day.
Y'all did that.
Listen, dope episode. You know, I think this goes up to in the category of one of the longest episodes. I think. I think it might have passed J.R. Ryder in them.
Yeah.
Maybe, right? Because we about maybe 5 hours in. I don't know. Nah, I'm playing. But dope episode, man. Shout out to y'all. Appreciate you coming out.
Classic
you know,
episode. I love it.
Thank you for having us.
The stories are amazing. You know, you guys gave us some good content. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my sponsors one more time from the West Coast. You know what I mean? Shout out to the good. Make sure I'm saying that right. Good looking is the Instagram at GUUDLUKIN. You know, once again, good stands for God uses us differently. Shout out to them, South Central. You know what I'm saying? LA in the building. Classic episode, man. You know. She said before the show, she prayed for us, and she said it's gonna get the most views ever on our platform. You know, I believe it. I believe it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all here.
You giving the Instagrams out?
You gonna do it anyway, go ahead, man. I'll let you.
Yo, it's Queen's Flip, man. Listen, man, dope episode. You know, one of my favorite. Yes. You know, when you interview somebody and their story is online and on these great platforms, you try your best to try to be different. And this is the direction that we get a little more details. And, you know, they opened up, especially Champ, man. They try to violate my man Champ and call him her friend. I was tight. Yelling at the TV today. But, you know, when me and him spoke, we good. You know what I'm saying? Like, friend, I said, Champ, where you at? I was about to call your phone. Champ, what? Gotta call him. But, you know, classic. I appreciate, you guys for coming. Thank you.
Yes.
Shout out to the whole team. Basco,
Yes.
Amina, Ebach is on vacation.
Shout out to Ebach.
You know, he'll be back. Mighty Two Times is in the building. You know what I'm saying?
Michelle one time.
Yeah, facts. Mighty Two Times. You know, I feel good. But remember, lock your doors, close your windows, close your blinds, open your blinds. And if you see Jemeker and Champ on your lawn, let them in. They don't mean no harm. I'm from Queens.
That's it.